Welcome to Through the Looking Glass. Today's episode, we're going to be talking a little bit about Jeffrey Epstein.
Who should not be named.
Ooh.
And the Ghislaine Maxwell.
Oh, yeah, I can't forget about good old Ghislaine. But until then, I'm going to hand it on over to Russ so he can do his thing.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Through the Looking Glass podcast, TTLG podcast, Facebook, YouTube, Rumble, all the fun stuff. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, comment, follow us around, be a part of our conversations. If you want to come talk to us, please do. We've got a lot of fun stuff we have planned in the future to talk about. A lot of interesting things, especially here in New York. A lot of things are happening. And, people need to get involved. Come join us, talk, have conversations, have some fun, goof off with us, because we do that too. Not everything's all serious all the time. A Discord channel?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I guess
I don't feel like paying moderators.
Yeah.
Wait,
We already have so many jobs.
You got to pay moderators to have a Discord?
You don't have to pay them, but I mean...
Most people volunteer.
Yeah, for a while, but...
Until you get really big. And then,
if your page gets really big, it's literally a full-time job.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know much about Discord, so...
It's really good. Oh, but there are a lot of stipulations for people who don't hold the correct point of view.
On Discord?
Yes. Yeah, trust. I've been in some chat channels where, like, DDLG is perfectly allowed, but if you say you supported Trump... It's very weird. Very weird.
Is it certain channels or Discord as a whole?
Discord as a whole.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot
I've never seen any of that, but I'm not on that often.
They have Discord in their... if you make a channel, you, of course, have to sign an agreement. They have a zero-tolerance policy.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Is that newer? Because I haven't done it in years.
A couple years.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Off track. But yeah, thanks for joining us, have these conversations. I hope you didn't hear Adam just ripping ass right there. And,
No, I was unzipping my bag because I forgot to pull out my little black book.
Sounded suspicious. Oh, you've got the little black book? Good.
Well, this one's
People have been looking for that for years.
Oh, well, this is actually like a bigger black book.
Well, with that many names in it, it'd be pretty big.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not quite
BBK?
that little black book.
All right. Where do we even start this one off
Jesse,
at?
you want to do me one quick favor and just make sure like I'm centered in that camera sitting here? Look pretty centered. All right, perfect.
Yeah, it was 1 millimeter off.
Yeah.
Cool. That 1 millimeter, it'll get you. It'll get you. All right, let me flip off
What's
the
smaller than a
page
millimeter?
that has
Micrometer?
this scientific shit on it.
It's millimeter, centimeter, meter? Yeah, so micrometer.
Maybe. A decimeter? I don't know. I'm going to Google it.
That would be tenth. That would be a tenth of.
Yeah.
So maybe.
Because what, milli is...
100. Well, it's 100th, I thought. Millimeter, 100th. Or no, yeah, it might be 1,000.
Deci is 10.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Or tenth. However you want to.
Yeah, it does go micrometer.
You know, that would actually
then
be kind of a...
nanometer.
Nano?
Yeah, I know about nanograms.
So micrometer is 1,000 times smaller than millimeter, and then nanometer is 1,000 times smaller than micrometer. So nanometer is 1 million times.
Yeah, see, I know about micrograms simply because of a compound that is active in the microgram range.
That's very, very little. You know what I think would be an interesting discussion at one point is why America chose the imperial measurement system instead of metric.
Superior.
How?
What do you mean? It makes more sense.
A foot?
Yeah.
A foot.
Yeah.
And a yard?
Yeah.
And
Oh,
a mile.
I
Mile.
thought.
Yep.
I thought a foot.
Mile
was
is the best. Yeah, mile is the best for sure. Because everybody remembers 5,280.
I thought
randomly.
a foot was like a form of expression. Like, there's fuckery afoot.
Well, not anymore. You're going to get the boot.
What's the other country that uses imperial? Like in Papua New Guinea or something?
I don't know.
Some random one.
There's a few,
Yeah,
isn't there?
5 or something.
It's Vietnam, not Vietnam.
South Korea?
Taiwan?
Taiwan? Yeah. Let's Google it.
Yeah, Google. Or Or better yet, use Brave. How about you brave it? Brave the web. Yeah. All right.
Imperial, right?
Yeah, were
three
you-
countries don't use metric: Liberia, Myanmar, and the U.S.
Oh,
That's it.
that sounds kind of dumb.
Is it
So
Myanmar not a country anymore?
everywhere
Or they
else is using metric, huh?
Yeah.
Yep.
There's only a
So
couple assholes who don't.
both of you will be definitely happy to hear that Epstein's Island was officially sold.
Really? Does
Yep.
it say who bought it?
that what?
Stephen Deckoff.
And what's this guy do?
No idea, other than he's a billionaire
When was that?
bought the island
'Cause it was still
fairly recently.
Yeah, it was still up for grabs a couple days ago.
All right,
Stephen
maybe my
Deckoff, huh?
information is wrong. I'd really hate that, but
Yeah, I want to say 2 or 3 days ago, the last news I seen.
Yeah,
was it
he's
was-
worth $3.2 billion. This is the first time I'm hearing this name. Did you figure out what he does?
no. Deckoff, the founder of the private equity firm Black Diamond Capital Management, purchased the 2 islands for $60 million. J.P. Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon is the 2 different diamonds. Dimon is due to be deposited in late May for lawsuits, according to the bank, benefiting from sex trafficking by Epstein on his private island.
So on a side note, I found the sweet spot on your right click to get it to work just about every time. Oh,
Yeah.
I lost it. There it is.
Yeah, in the quick answered section, who owns Epstein Island now? Billionaire Stephen Deckoff. 2 private islands in the U.S. Virgin Islands, once owned by Jeffrey Epstein, the disgraced financier, were sold to a firm run by billionaire Stephen Deckoff.
So Stephen Jerkoff owns it now, huh?
When did he acquire it?
Now you're asking too many questions.
That's crazy. 60 million because of the current like it was one. I think they were auctioning it at 125 or something like that.
So the latest report is from the New York Post, May 4th.
May 4th.
He might have put in bids for it, and the
Oh.
paperwork could have just been finalized.
My question is, with the amount of islands in the ocean, little tiny islands, what they were doing at Epstein Island, what island are they doing that at now? I'm sure they just found a whole new island to say, hey, we'll use this island instead.
Yeah, of
Look,
course. Isn't the Virgin Islands like a splatter of over 1,000?
And
They're very small.
I know the Thousand Islands are.
Also, too, when you get on Google Earth and just start like searching around and just playing around, there's strangely like some land masses in the ocean that are like blacked out.
Mm-hmm.
They have like these weird black patches covering parts of land, almost as if like they don't want you to see what's on those islands.
Yeah, they're probably like military sites.
Yeah, a lot of military sites do. North Korea, I think most of it's blacked out.
Like,
some of China.
Can you go on Google Earth and look at like U.S. naval bases and
Yes.
stuff? Air Force bases
Yes.
and
Yes.
military bases?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. Because there's one base, I think it's in California, maybe. I got a screenshot of it saved on my phone. It's strange. One of the barracks looks like a swastika. Literally, it's shaped like a swastika. And like it could be complete accident that it's like that, but you think the,
Architecture is not by accident.
That's what I'm saying. You think the architect would have saw, oh wait, this building looks like a swastika. Maybe, just maybe, I should redesign it.
Architecture is quite literally a deliberate planning of building. So there's no way. There's no way that it was an accident. Plus, a swastika doesn't sound like it has very good structural integrity. Like, just, it seems dumb, you know?
I mean, it's built like a lot of the other barracks in the military, where they're just like these long, straight, rectangular buildings, or sometimes even L-shaped. But this one, it's like an L shape that connects to the other L shapes where it all meets in the center. Like, it definitely looks like a swastika.
Very strange.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got what up?
Oh, I thought you had it up, like a picture of
Like
it.
Google Earth.
Oh, no, I got a
Swastika
screenshot
barracks.
saved on my phone. I can't remember if I hit record on my phone. Man, my brain's not working today.
So, like, what kind of information
Jesse, you want to just check and make sure I hit record on that? I'm pretty sure I did.
did either of you focus on specific information about Epstein or just generalized
I
info?
watched a couple podcasts where it was like
They
broad
talked
enough.
about stuff and
So my
Didn't
issue
focus
with
on any one thing.
my issue with only having like 5-6 days to look into Epstein, because we originally planned on, so everyone knows, we planned a little bit on talking about something else, having a guest on today, and sadly that guest's schedule did not work out. Sorry about that.
we're all
So that-
kinds of offbeat
Yeah,
today.
yeah. I woke up, my brain just wasn't with it today, but I was like, hey, let's go have some fun with my brain not being with it. So the issue with only having like 4 or 5 days to look into Epstein is because I think we found out Friday or Saturday that our guest wasn't going to be able to make it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it was Friday. So we had just the weekend to try to gather as much information as we could. And I'm sure you worked all weekend. I worked all weekend.
Outside
So-
of the information that we already have collected about him, but actually
There's-
digging into
There's so
Epstein,
much
there's-
about Epstein. It's like, do you want to talk about one specific thing with him? Do you want to talk about his death? Do you want to talk about the trafficking ring? So I just kind of got a little bit of information
Yeah,
from
kind of
everything.
start from the beginning,
Yeah.
like what he, who he is, how he got started, and
I mean, it kind of seems like you could really do a mini series about this guy.
oh, you could go on for days.
So yeah, like, hey, let's go over his
he had,
his business
like,
adventures and what he did in New York City.
45-year run of his career.
You guys know how he came across all of his money, right?
No, I know that he was he was born in Brooklyn in New York, and
He
he
kind-
was a rather intelligent kid, a little bit
Well,
charismatic.
He kind of, in a sense, had a quote-unquote sugar daddy. What I mean by that is there's a gentleman named Les Wexner. Les is short for Leslie. And Les Wexner basically gave him power of attorney over all his finances. And Les Wexner was a billionaire.
yep.
So Epstein could take out loans in his name. He
How
could
old
write-
was he?
I believe when he met Epstein, he was in like his
70s,
60s or 70s. So
He was an older guy.
So this kind of sounds like the typical scenario of somebody who was abused, then abuses others. If you follow me, that
I mean, he was
Is it-
definitely abusing others. I don't know. I didn't yet find anything
Right.
if Epstein himself was abused as a child, but
yeah,
right,
I
but
haven't seen
it
anything.
it's a pretty typical pattern that if you are sexually abused as a child, you
Yes.
are prone to have those tendencies. It's a higher chance.
makes me wonder with Ghislaine, like what happened with Ghislaine, because she was said to be her father's like favorite child. She was in with the high elites of society from her teenage years and going to parties with her father
Yeah, because her
in her
dad
teenage
was a business
years.
mogul or something.
Her dad was
He
also
was.
a billionaire, yeah.
And
So she,
I mean,
like
Ghislaine
I said,
was fairly attractive. So
in her
chances
younger
are,
years, yeah.
chances are, her father got her into the business, started kind of using her as a token to get, hey, go flirt with that guy over there. We need to go make a deal.
I don't doubt it.
Very possible. Because I know her father was a billionaire. That's actually how she already, prior to even meeting Epstein, knew Donald Trump, because Donald Trump was friends with her father. Her father's name's Robert Maxwell. He also had a pretty mysterious death. Robert Maxwell did. I know he was. There was a huge scandal about him stealing a bunch of money. Let's see where I got it written down here somewhere.
Seems like people who know Ghislaine just kind of end up mysteriously dying.
So Robert Maxwell had stole over $400 million from pension funds. That's, and then
So a scumbag.
kind of, yeah, absolutely. But his death was mysterious. Apparently he was on the Lady Ghislaine, which was his boat, and apparently he was taking a piss off the side and then had a heart attack and fell overboard, and I guess they never found the body, or
I mean, that's not unheard of, but wait, if they never found the body, how would they know he had a heart attack?
because it wasn't just a mysterious death; it was disappearance and death. Because that's just what the official story is that he was taking a leak off the side of the boat into the ocean, and then boom, heart attack, fell over the side of the boat, and they never recovered the body.
Right. But how was it determined that he had a heart attack?
Exactly.
It sounds like just an added piece of detail that's unnecessary to make it sound more true.
Exactly.
You could tell just from looking at him while he was holding his dick. For some reason, you were standing there watching him hold his dick, and you saw him go, "Oh, egad, a heart attack!" And then he falls overboard.
He definitely said "egad" for
Yeah,
sure.
like that.
For sure.
That sounds like some.
I mean, he could have yelled out like, "Oh!"
Yeah. Oh no, I smell burning bacon, and the whole right side of my body isn't functioning. Ah, the stereotypical symptoms of a heart attack. Quick, get my daughter.
Or did he get hit with the heart attack gun?
Is it the blowfish?
The ice bullet.
No. There's rumored technology. It's a quote unquote heart attack gun that when pointed at
from
somebody,
like in the 60s or 70s. They were
pointed
talking
at somebody, you can basically give them a heart attack.
about. I remember
Said to be
they
a
did
secret
something
weapon
about
of the
like
CIA or the FBI.
yeah.
He's lucky I wasn't on that boat, because if I would have saw him croak and fall over the edge, I would have been like dead.
I think wasn't it like the heart attack gun? It was actually like a bullet, a small needle or bullet kind of thing that was injected with either like blowfish or cuttlefish poison, and the symptoms of it causes an immediate cardiac arrest, but it also dissipates in the blood very quickly. So
Yeah,
it's like an
looks
untraceable.
natural,
Yeah.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
Not saying I'm going to poison anybody, but that's
Yeah.
good to know.
It was, I believe, if I remember correctly, it was either cuttlefish or blowfish. It's just a neurotoxin.
Very well. Let me cross this off real quick.
Information that I found out about him is that he was a rather intelligent and charismatic kid growing up. And somehow he found himself as like an uncredentialed teacher at a school where it turns out he was let go. Let's see.
Yeah, because he didn't have the credentials. He was swindling everybody, even the principal of the school. He swindled them.
So in 1974,
He used to walk through the hallways like a pimp with his long coat.
probably. I mean, he
No,
probably
that's
had
not.
some
That's not.
swag.
That's not a probably. That's what the students said about him, and even the students said.
Oh, so you did- okay.
Yeah, the students said he was an
Yeah.
easy A.
So
Basically, like he was almost didn't really care. Would just maybe if students did special things for him, would
Is
give
that
them
1974?
give them good
1974.
grades.
20?
He was young. Yeah.
Yeah, very.
So
Yeah,
he
21.
became a teacher as a physics and mathematics teacher, and he showed preferential treatment to young girls, where he was accused several times of misconduct with the young girls.
Not surprising.
Where he was then fired shortly after, in 1976. So he was only there for 2 years, and there were many people who I guess have said, he was pretty inappropriate with the girls. So as a 20-something-year-old talking to like 16, 17-year-old girls.
Definitely not surprising.
Right.
Yeah, somebody in that role, he would have been like, "Hey, I'll give you, I'll give you good grades or do something for me."
Maybe that's why some of the students said he was an easy A in class. He was, you do a little something special for him, get an A. I mean, it seems like, so that Les Wexner guy, apparently he was involved heavily with Victoria's Secret. He may be the founder of it.
He owned a business that owned Bath and Body Works, Victoria's Secret, and a couple others.
So,
Yeah, he was worth
That-
what, 15 billion or something like that.
it was 4.8 billion at the time when Epstein was signed his power of attorney to be able to manage his finances. I'm sure it grew from there, but 4.8 billion is what he was worth when he started working with Epstein. That's actually how Epstein got his mansion. That mansion was actually Wexler's, and it was signed over to Epstein, so he didn't have to pay a damn thing for it. But yeah, another thing I got jotted down is he would basically do like these casting couches with young aspiring Victoria's Secret models at that mansion, and apparently barely any of them ever got hired on as Victoria's Secret models.
Yeah,
So
of course.
that again is not something surprising.
Yeah,
and it
there's
was always
only
with
one or-
school-aged women.
Yeah, and there's only one or two other people present at the time besides the.
When,
besides the
So the
girls that were there.
name,
When was this though?
The
Because
name I got
shortly
written
after
down-
he stopped being a teacher, he went to work as like a stock trader.
so actually I don't think I have jotted down the year when he started working as Lex Wexner's power of attorney. I also forgot to jot down the year that he took ownership of the mansion.
Yeah.
But what I do have down is Maria Farmer, her name. She was kind of like the secretary at the mansion, and she used to keep a logbook of people coming in and out of the mansion. And one thing she said in her testimony is how it was mainly younger schoolgirls, even showing up still in their school uniforms.
Testimony at Ghislaine's hearing.
I believe it was Ghislaine's hearing. It could have been Epstein's.
So like it
The
might have been
2015
the earlier one.
Or 2008.
So
Yeah, I think it was
his
from
mansion in New
Epstein's-
York City.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah, I
wasn't
do
when he was down in
remember-
Palm Beach.
I might not have, or I have a link for something like that. But no, his earlier career, just when he was in the 20s, he started off really well. I mean, he was a teacher from 1974 to 1976, and in 1976, he immediately became like a stocks trader, and quickly rose up in that. I read that the CEO of the company that he worked for, Bear Stearns, the CEO, said that he had a certain kind of energy and charisma when it came to working with wealthier clients.
He was very charismatic, and that's probably how he was able to swindle
Yeah.
so many people.
He was able to become the personal advisor of such companies as Seagram's, who helped on tax
Seagram.
mitigation strategies. I think it's just a business called Seagram's, and he was a personal accountant for Edgar Bronfram, who was
Okay.
like the president of that company.
Okay, I thought Seagram's
Yeah.
was a wine cooler.
That's what.
Yeah, but
brand.
he started gaining like notoriety among wealthy people at a very young age, and he was only there for like 5 years because then in 1981 he was then fired for committing a Regulation D violation. I forgot to jot down what that is, but not insider trading, but I'm not even going to guess because I can't remember at all. But he was fired from there, but he still had like his contacts. Reg D violation. In quotation, it's just Reg D violation. 1981. And then right after that, he started his own consulting firm where he then, kept wealthy clients and just kept doing like money stuff for them. So he had his hands dipped in so many pockets. It just kind of sounds like he went one route and he realized that wasn't going to work out. So he was like, you know what? I'm going to start getting involved with rich, wealthy individuals and then find my way up the ladder through them.
Him meeting Ghislaine Maxwell actually helped introduce him to even more elites in society because Ghislaine grew up with her father being intermingling with all of those people.
Right.
So when she came to America after her father's mysterious passing,
Oh, she's not a nationalized U.S. citizen?
she might be now, but she came over from England. Yeah. So after her father passed, she came to America, and it was almost like, from what I gathered, it's almost like she swindled Epstein and Epstein swindled her. It's like they were trying to like out swindle each other, and that's how they kind of
That's probably how they got the rocks off.
grew such a close relationship. But yeah, from what I gathered, it was her that actually introduced him to like an even higher echelon of people in society.
So Reg D is if funds are withdrawn from a time deposit within 6 days of the date of deposit, an early withdrawal penalty.
That sounds different from what I read, but possibly.
Yeah, Regulation D. Mhm.
But I mean, there's a lot of well, there's conspiracies now that Ghislaine was actually the one in charge because
Which makes me wonder about her father. Was her father doing some shit like that? And when her father passed, she decided to
take over the family business.
take over the
thing.
family business.
Could have been.
Like she basically picked up the torch and ran with it.
You said his yacht's name was Ghislaine,
The Lady Ghislaine.
and is the Epstein's plane the G-55?
Give me 1 second. The Lolita Express.
Yeah. So that was its actual registered name.
Yes, the one that was flying most to his island. The
So have
707,
you
I think
ever-
it was.
Have you ever heard the theory of like trophy taking?
Is that similar to like the idea when a serial killer kills someone, they keep something almost as like Dexter when he would keep the blood slide? That's like
Yeah.
his trophy. Okay.
So like Ghislaine's father named his yacht Ghislaine because it was like she was the first I did this to.
So who's Lolita to?
exactly?
So who's that to Epstein? Because you got to remember
Could have been
he had a
Epstein's
bunch.
first.
Well,
He had a
Lolita
bunch of different planes.
does, what is it in Spanish? Little girl or something like that.
Is that what Lolita means?
I think I have heard that before. That Lolita does mean like it's like young girl or just something to say like certain languages have this. It represents youth, a youthful
Oh no,
woman.
it's English language term defining a young girl as
English?
Yeah, defining a young girl as
Youthful woman, right?
When you say
precociously
English, do you mean
seductive.
like American English or like?
Precociously seductive young girl.
It originates from Vladimir Nabokov's 1955 Lolita, which portrays the narrator Humbert's sexual obsession with and victimization of a 12-year-old girl.
Are we talking like American English or like British English? Is it like
It just
Lolita
says-
or is it
It just says
Lolita?
English language.
Yeah, it's probably just English standard.
Fair enough.
Interesting. Well, we learned that. I just think it's weird that they would.
Oh yeah, Lolita is a Spanish nickname for Dolores.
Those don't fit in my eyes. I don't get
But you
it.
got to remember, Epstein also had multiple other planes. He never flew commercial. It was always private. He had a small double-engine Cessna. He had the Lolita Express, and then I believe there was two others that he had as well.
What
The
billionaire-
Cessna he flew himself, wasn't it?
I don't know if he had his pilot's license. I didn't uncover anything like that.
I mean, if I
Nothing
was
I looked into
if I was
found
a
that.
multi-millionaire, I'd probably learn to fly my own plane. You know?
or nobody would care. They would just fly it anyway. What are they
Well,
gonna do?
It's not like driving a car, Jesse. You still kind of got to learn
How
how
are they
to
gonna
fly.
know that he's flying?
You have to learn how to fly a plane still.
I don't
Well,
know.
yeah.
There was some
He
kids.
might
Okay.
know how to, but never.
Right.
got his
Okay.
license.
Right.
I don't know. There were some kids over, I believe, in either Sweden or Norway that stole a plane. Never learned how to fly prior.
And drove it
man.
successfully.
Yeah, I can't remember. I can't. They may have died trying to land it. I can't quite remember. Or they at least
Yeah.
crashed it, and I think they lived. But yeah, they.
But
did-
that's the thing.
They did a
they
TikTok
crashed.
or a Instagram video for clout, stealing a little plane,
sound
and
familiar.
they were able to get it off the ground. And
Yeah, getting it off the ground is the easy part. It's landing that's
Yeah.
hard.
yeah,
I don't know.
clout, man, it's a hell of a drug.
It is. It's a lot like other things. Man, this was such a bad dude. Like,
Was he as bad as Corn Pop?
nah, Corn Pop's good, dude.
Corn Pop was a
If
bad
Joe
boy.
Biden don't like Corn Pop, I like Corn Pop.
He was a bad dude, and he ran some bad boys. That's all I know.
Yeah, it just seems like he wasn't very well known in his earlier days, of course, like most people, but he very quickly, because of his charisma and his intelligence, he very, very quickly got in inner circles of very wealthy people.
Yeah, he was well known to.
And if you
the
have
wealthy. But nobody knew who
tendencies,
he was until.
Yeah.
Oh wait.
and I would imagine if you're an intelligent person with not so favorable desires of some kind, you're going to use that intelligence to figure out how to do it without getting caught or something. So it just seems like a bad mixture of it all.
Especially too, if you've got whether it's diagnosed or undiagnosed, a personality disorder such as narcissistic personality disorder or antisocial personality disorder. Antisocial personality disorder would basically just be a sociopath, which I'm sure he probably was. You don't have any remorse for anything you do with one of those disorders. You don't care what you do to other people. You're only looking out for number one. So
it kind of seems like he was a little bit of a sociopath because he wasn't exactly hiding the fact that he was flirting with girls while he was a teacher. I mean, like we both said, many people came forward and said that he was inappropriate with the girls. So maybe he was smart enough after getting fired from there, being like, maybe I'm not catching on to the fact that I'm doing this all wrong. So let me figure out what I'm doing wrong. And then he was a smart man, obviously. I mean, he was doing this for decades.
Yeah, when was his first... Because what I came across yesterday was it was rumored they started the trafficking in or around 1994, which it was probably going on sooner than that.
I think I seen 91.
Okay,
that would
you
make
came
like
across
his
91. I came across 94.
That would mean one of his very first clients would have been Bill Clinton.
Oh well,
so
I mean, I got a couple names written down. The names that popped up the most while I was watching videos and looking into things online. Bill Clinton is one of those names. However, I believe it was...
Yeah, how many? Well, it was like 49?
I believe it was Shaunti Davis.
23 last I heard.
23.
23 confirmed flights, maybe not to the island, but on the flight log.
I can't remember which one of these it was. It was either Virginia Roberts or Shaunti Davis. The one that's pictured giving Bill Clinton a massage in the airport or whatever. She actually said Bill Clinton was an absolute gentleman and she was never forced to do anything sexual with him or like go above and beyond with him. Yeah. But that
he
doesn't
probably
mean
waited until he got to the island.
Yeah, that's kind of what she said was, he was on the island and she doesn't know what he was doing on the island.
Plus,
So-
he
Or if
was
she
caught.
said the opposite, she would have met a demise like most other people.
Suicided.
Yeah.
Yeah, shotgun
Tied
blast.
to a tree backwards
Shotgun blast to the back of the
3
head.
times. Yeah.
If you have to keep up some sort of decorum in public, then you're going to do it. He was a president of the United States, but he was also caught in the Oval Office getting a blowjob. So, it's...
Who caught him?
I don't remember, but actually I don't even remember how that all went down. I just know that Monica Lewinsky said that maybe she did. Maybe she said he was being inappropriate with her.
Oh, man.
Was it even real? What I mean by that is the whole world is a stage. Did they use that as a purposeful distraction to
For something
yeah, it
else?
might have been
keep
started
everybody
way
looking
back
at this
then.
hand while we don't see what
Distractions.
they're doing with this hand?
Possibly.
I mean, I feel like distractions and stuff like that probably started way back in the 1950s with Operation Mockingbird.
Yeah,
Probably even before that.
we'll have to see what was going on in the world around that time when that whole scandal happened.
Yeah.
But you can go back to times of monarchies. Propaganda and distractions were always when the Roman Empire was collapsing, they had to occupy the citizens from the fact that they were starving, so they would send them to the breads and circus games. So distraction against mass population has always been the thing, because if they all become of one mind, all of a sudden the system crumbles, because now you've got 10 million brains all thinking the same thing, and they're all thinking it's time for you to go. You can't fight that. So distract them. Yeah, I'm sure distraction's been going on for as long as we can remember.
I mean, especially too, 1950s would make a good time period, seeing how in the mid-40s, Operation Paperclip brought all the Nazi scientists and high-ranking Nazi officials here, and the Nazis did have a whole propaganda division, and their propaganda division worked very well, and I'm sure we learned a lot from their propaganda division.
Yeah. And I think it was probably very easy, because what was it? All throughout the early 1900s, like 1910 to the 1940-ish, there was a lot of patriotism, and America was dealing with what? The Great Depression, So it was very hard to afford anything when
Yeah, it
people
was
are
one thing after
hungry.
another. World War One,
Yeah.
then the Great Depression, 10 years
The
later,
Dust
and
Bowl,
then-
everything like that. So people were very desperate to have faith in something. And if you can convince your entire country's population to just believe in the project that your country is doing, I mean, that's why there were 14-year-old boys who were willing to storm the beaches of Normandy, you know? So, mass psychosis.
So back to Bill Clinton real quick. Have you ever heard of the Clinton Global Initiative?
Yeah, that's with Hillary as well, isn't it?
It's the nonprofit that they
programs.
created after Bill's
Yeah,
presidency.
yep.
You know how that got started? With a $4 million check from Jeffrey Epstein to get it going.
I mean, they were probably just really good friends. Nothing under.
They must have been real good friends because Jeffrey Epstein's little black book had 20 different phone numbers for Bill Clinton. 20.
20?
20.
How? That's not even like. That's before the age of cell phones. Like, where are he keeping all these phones?
Several could have been vacation homes. That's at least
Pagers. Different pagers.
different pagers. They did have cell phones in the 90s. They were just those big ass
Yeah,
blocky
huge
things.
bricks.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not
They were
carrying
like-
They
those
started
they were
in
like this-
86, 87.
They were
Yeah.
like the size of this Focusrite.
Yeah,
right
they were the
here.
giant gray ones.
Yeah.
Murder weapons.
But I could see them being pagers for sure.
Pagers, cell phones, maybe a couple different vacation homes.
Yeah. They definitely own different
And
properties.
as far as they know, Bill Clinton flew 26 times on the Lolita Express.
That's not recorded to the island, but just domestic flights. Yeah.
Mhm, that's
So
not all of
domestic
them.
continental flights.
Yeah, it doesn't say where those flights went. It just flight logs that were people coming on the Lolita Express. And of the 3 pilots who flew the Lolita Express, only one of them kept logs of who the passengers were. So there's still, I'm sure, plenty of people that flew on that plane that we won't know about and never will know. Or
Yeah, I was just about to ask how accurate was the flight logs, like how, and if only one person kept track.
yeah, as far as I came across, of the 3 pilots,
2/3 of the people that flew, we have no
yeah,
idea.
exactly, scratched from the record.
That's so strange. So strange.
Let me cross that out.
I mean, people will do just about anything for money, you know? Well, that's unfair to say. Not just money. People will do anything for
power.
favor and power. Yeah. Because to say money isn't fair, because that's kind of like a capitalistic thing. But even if money wasn't an issue, if nobody had a need for anything, people would still desire more of something. So, hey, I've got this new brandy that's only available once every 4 months because it's on whatever. Oh, yeah, I'd like that. Well, all you got to do is not keep track of who comes on this plane. Psh, simple. Give me that brandy.
Or, hey, here's $10,000. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Very.
That's the beauty about cash. It can't be tracked.
Yeah, 'cause especially something like that, like don't keep a flight log. They may see that as just harmless,
Yeah.
or
But
you
at the
know,
same
like,
time,
what bad could
Yeah.
come from me? Not
Or a
keeping
lot of
flight
human
log.
beings, because they can be bribed and manipulated. They get a little cash in front of their face. They'll say, hey, cool, I won't ask any questions.
because it's very difficult for people to see like long term what could be happening. But isn't that? I believe it's a law, like to keep track of who's on flights.
I'm pretty sure
You
you're
gotta know
supposed to,
who's
yeah.
coming and going, right? But
Yeah, but especially with private planes,
you could
you could
yeah,
just
of course,
it's ridiculously so you just fudging the numbers.
yeah.
Or someone just walks on and the pilot, hey, yeah, I don't see you. You're
Yeah.
cool. Come on.
Yeah,
on."
they wouldn't. They're looking out the front windscreen.
Yeah,
So-
they just put them down as an alias or
Actually, looking through the names in the little black book, there are some strange aliases, and I actually have it pulled up on the Brave browser here.
Nice.
So when we get into that,
yeah. Of the ones I can make out, there were a couple weird ones. Like, is that even a name?
Yeah, some of them are just like either a last name or just one name or
3 letters.
Yeah, it's not
4
their
letters.
not their full name.
It could be just something that everybody knows somebody as. Oh, it's like, that's Sterling.
Yeah.
But his name is John Malcolm, but he goes by Sterling. It's reported that even since the early 1980s, Epstein had confidently told certain individuals that he was an intelligence agent. And it's confirmed that he had an Australian passport with his photo but a fake name. So, like, he was traveling illegally intercontinentally. And showed his place of residence as Saudi Arabia. I don't know if that makes any difference, but to kind of confirm that, there is in 2017, a former senior White House official reported that Alexander Acosta, who was the U.S. attorney for the Southern District of Florida, who was handling Epstein's criminal case back in 2008 before he took the plea deal, he had an interview with the Trump transition interview team that Epstein, quote unquote, belonged to the intelligence and to, quote, leave it alone, he's above my pay grade. So a U.S. general attorney was told, you don't got power for this. Like, he's outside of your league. So there is a lot of evidence to support that. I mean, this might have been the guy who was hired by United States intelligence. Of course, just all speculation on my part. He could have been the guy who was like the middleman to invite wealthy world leaders to then get them to blackmail to do what the United States want them to do.
That's a solid point.
Like,
Yeah.
He had blackmail on everybody.
like, hey, Spanish Prime Minister, do you want to come with me to this island? Boom, I have a photo of now you're going to do what we want you to do. Otherwise, we're going to release this photo of you touching a minor to all of your news programs.
So maybe what he told Ghislaine Maxwell when they met wasn't so false, because he introduced himself to her as an international man of mystery.
That's probably why it took so long for him to get caught, because he had blackmail on the right people.
But maybe he finally did it to the wrong person,
Yeah.
or somebody so influential had more power than him, and they were like, this man has dirt on me. He needs to go.
Yeah, me and too many of my buddies, so
Yeah.
we gotta get rid of him.
Oh, man. It does feel like this world is a game show sometimes. Like, to think that there really was, probably still is, an international child sex trafficking ring organization.
It was probably more than one.
That really exists. It's going on right now. And people are just like, I've got bills to pay. All right. Cool. You've got bills to pay. Wonderful. Good for you. I hope they write that on your tombstone.
We all got bills to pay.
Yeah. Some of us have children.
Not homeless people. I got no bills.
Oh, no. They still got bills.
Phone bill.
There's
They
a
will
lot of
have
them
at
that
least
have
one
phones.
bill.
Yeah, there's a lot of them that have phones.
They will have at
nowadays.
least one bill, but they never have to pay it.
What's that?
Epstein had a bill too. His last name was Clinton.
When they die.
Huh?
They're not just going to throw the body in the trash.
Yeah, dying's expensive.
It is pretty
that is
expensive.
true.
It is
Yeah.
pretty expensive.
The cheapest route is just the cremation, but man, if you want a casket and everything for your loved one, dying is expensive.
Yeah, because even cremation's what, $700, $800.
He goes around there, yeah.
Yeah.
I know for an animal it's like $400.
Jesus.
Which is wild. It was like, can I just, I don't know, build a slow cooker in my ground? Like,
Yeah, can I just throw them in a hole out back and burn them? Seems a little cheaper.
You know, that's actually something I would like to talk about at some point is why are we required to send our family members to a mass grave site? Why can't we just bury them on our own property?
Yeah, I don't know.
And why are we putting all these toxic things into a human body when they die? Like embalming fluid? Like that seems awful. Why?
Yeah, I don't know. Just throw them in the ground and let the bugs have at them. That sounds like the cycle of life, yeah?
Well, I mean, they've done it
does.
forever, so there has to be.
Embalming fluid
Yeah,
or
they've done that in the Egyptians. Put embalming fluid in
no?
Really?
They put something in the.
I
in
know
the
they
body.
took like everything
gotta
out and
Google
put
that.
them in canopic jars.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they put some kind of liquid in their body
No.
to like slow decomposition or something like that.
I thought the mummification process is what slowed the decomposition.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure during that process they put some kind of liquid in the body.
I thought they just soaked the
That would
wraps
be
in
wild.
something. Let me Google this real quick.
That would be wild. Yeah, wasn't it like papyrus leaf is what the wrappings were made of or something, and there was some kind of solution. It was like a super glue, and they just wrapped the bodies up. That would be crazy to think that Egyptians actually had like an embalming method.
All right, so we got an article right here. The surprising substances ancient Egyptians used to mummify the dead. Let's scroll down and see what we got.
This is called a segue by the way. It's a hard segue, but it's a segue. That's crazy. Wow, today's an off day.
Oh, maybe not. Maybe not.
Things just feel weird.
Yeah, it might just be stuff they put on the outside of the body.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It was like stuff they soaked the wraps in to wrap the body up. Speaking of mummification, we should do a whole episode on Soko Shimbutsu.
Ooh.
That's the one you were talking about before.
The self-mummification that monks would do to obtain enlightenment.
Or if
And-
anything, because that'd probably be like a 45-minute.
Yeah,
segment.
that sounds
Be
like,
like
a
that and-
brutal process.
Or just a mummification
I'm-
episode where...
We could also do like Japanese ritual honor death, like seppuku. Well, that's pretty brutal as well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there's other cultures.
Yeah, just an episode on weird ways other cultures kill themselves.
Apparently, the Soko Shimbutsu, I mean, I guess technically it's killing yourself, but it's like,
They think they're still alive, but...
So,
They're
I mean, if you
not.
really think about it,
basically
America
attaining
has
enlightenment in a strange way.
America has a very weird way to kill yourself as well. It involves going to a place, murdering other people in hopes that the cops will kill you. So that's a pretty strange way to commit suicide.
Suicide by homicide.
Yeah, or suicide by cop. It depends on where you are, how they say it, but that's very strange. No, I think we should go back to like the old Celtic ways. Is pyre burnings. You know, somebody dies, ceremonially give them a ritualistic ceremony, praise the gods, put them on a pyre, put them in a little boat, send them out of the ocean, set it on fire. That's it.
I'm with it.
I'm with it.
That's how I want to go.
Seems like a fantastic way to go.
So I want to know what names you guys came across the most when looking into the Epstein stuff.
So many.
I mean, one of the main ones that came up was Trump, but
Yeah.
for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Clinton, and there's one other
I
that
mean,
came up the most.
even if you go into Google right now, Google's fairly biased. But
Yeah.
who are the most? Trump is number one. Chris Rock was on the list.
Yep.
Rob Reiner. He's not a very well-known guy, but
What do you mean? He was in Wolf of Wall Street.
yeah.
It's pretty well known in my opinion.
he was on
some
Saturday
other
Night
weird
Live in the
ones.
70s or something.
Yeah, something like that. Tom Hanks, supposedly. Ellen DeGeneres, but like that's a whole nother. The connections with Ellen DeGeneres and Epstein are very, very strange. It is so weird. Like, for a couple of seasons, the set of her show was his temple. It's so bizarre. So bizarre.
Let's see if her name was in the little black book.
So from what it looks like, they put all the innards in a jar and then put the fluids in the jar. So I guess
To
if they-
preserve the.
yeah. So I guess if they had the means to do it, they would have just put it inside.
So the only Ellen in Epstein's Black Book was Ellen Goldberg.
Related to Bill Goldberg?
Probably not.
Yeah,
Probably not.
Well, I feel like I've heard something like this before, but no, I'm thinking of Whoopi. Like, Whoopi Goldberg is her
Yeah.
name, but Goldberg actually isn't her last name.
Oh, really?
Something weird.
So her real name is Whoopi?
I believe so. But her last name isn't Goldberg. She, like, took on another name.
Yeah, so on the epsteinsblackbook.com, when I type in Ellen, the only one that pops up is Ellen Goldberg. So
I've seen some links
you got to stop playing
about
with the cord. That's loud. Yeah, that's loud.
There's been different links between Ellen's show and his, and there's other things. She was photographed on a boat with a young child, and there's stories behind it. I don't want to dive into something I don't know too much about, but the photos of the set of her show, it's undeniable. You can find photos of it right away where it's got the blue and white stripes of the temple, and you know the scenery of the background of her set is exactly like Epstein's temple. So it's very strange.
So when I Google Ellen Goldberg, what's popping up is the School of Oracles. Buddha School of Oracles offers both readings and classes in tarot cards,
So
palmistry, and
makes
astrology.
sense. Because it was rumored
Sacrifices.
that they had weird rituals on the island.
Well, I mean, if you're doing that to children on an island, you can't let them live. So might as well, right?
Yeah, you get them all. What's the conspiracy theory? You get them all scared, and that releases the adrenaline in the blood, and then when you drink the blood, it's got the adrenochrome. Mm-hmm. The only place I knew before of all this of adrenochrome was from watching Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
I think that's where the thing kind of came back up, but that is real, isn't it? Where when your body dumps fear adrenaline into your body, it of course gets into your bloodstream, and the adrenaline from a fear response is like the most potent. So like the amount of adrenaline that's dumped into your system and your bloodstream is just astronomical. It's like being high. You're high as fuck. So
Apparently, there's a lot of interesting things that can be used from the human body. One of the things to stay young, which was on Ellen DeGeneres' show, was with Sandra Bullock when she was talking about this
stays
cream she uses to stay youthful. And then Ellen's like pressing her to say what it is, and finally she breaks and says it's from the foreskin of Korean babies.
that's weird.
It is a little weird. It is a little weird. But, you know, I guess to make a joke about it, you might as well recycle if you're going to chop it off, and instead of just throwing it away, you might as well recycle it, yeah?
But that would just be stem cells.
Essentially,
Yeah, but it would be cruelty-free because you're not taking them from an aborted child.
So my question, though, if it's what is not cruel about chopping off the foreskin? It's definitely a cruel act, so I don't think you could call it cruelty-free. The baby definitely feels it.
Yeah.
Well, kind of.
No, the baby definitely feels it.
They feel the pain,
Yeah.
but
It could be traumatic. Plus, for some reason, even now, Western culture has been practicing circumcisions for over 100 years, and doctors still fuck it up to where it can cause. It'll change a man's life forever. So, like, you could have a stunted penis.
I mean,
It's kind of a big deal.
this is a whole nother topic for a whole nother day, but that's kind of where the idea of gender theory came from. There was a botched circumcision, and I think it was
The two siblings that
who was it? Volkmar
John-
Sigush?
John Money.
John Money. Yeah, John Money.
oh yeah.
Yeah, it was a
So-
botched
I see a
circumcision
little
that
thing about
basically,
that.
Yep.
yeah,
So that's
Yeah,
a
they
whole
had to
nother
kill
topic,
themselves
but
later on
that
in
poor
life.
kid, man.
Yeah.
That poor kid.
so yeah, I don't know if you could call a circumcision cruelty free, but
No, the
I mean, it's less cruel.
I'm saying the stem cells, like so, taking the stem cells from something that parents opted for their child to get, like. So if the parents say, yes, we want our child to be circumcised, sure, it's still kind of cruel to the child.
It's a lot better
But
than
it's-
just killing a baby
Yeah,
for sure.
for that reason.
Yeah.
100%. So some other names I found that were repetitive when looking into all this. Of course, we already talked about Bill Clinton. Donald Trump was another big one. But the other two that popped up the most were, real quick, because I said Trump. You know, it's very possible Trump could have cut his ties with Epstein, like all the people that follow him religiously say he found out what Epstein was doing and thought it was gross, so he cut his ties. When in reality, Epstein had cut ties with Trump because Trump outbid him for a giant mansion in Palm Beach, Florida. But this is an interesting quote that's in a 2002 Time magazine article. Came right from Trump's mouth. I've known Jeff for 15 years. Terrific guy. He's a lot of fun to be with. It is even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side.
Right. So,
Was there video of that or just a quote from...
I think it was just a quote.
Because anything that isn't video evidence, I'm always skeptical of.
But I mean, why would Time magazine put that in an article in 2002? And if Trump didn't say it, you think he would have came out long ago and been like, "Yeah, that's not what I said."
That is true.
there's a lot of different reasons. Trump makes the claim that he cut ties with Jeffrey Epstein in like 1991 or something because he was being creepy at Trump Towers and, accosting younger women. He makes that claim. Time magazine, of course, has that article.
That sounds like confabulation.
Yeah. But it could be one of those things where, I mean, Trump's a boastful guy, and he does lie. All humans lie to a degree. So if he's not necessarily trying to ruin Epstein's career or anything like that, if you're just having an interview with somebody about something dumb, I mean, just not completely telling the truth doesn't seem like the worst thing in the world to do.
I just think it's strange he made the comment about many of them are on the younger side, as if like he knows but just either doesn't say anything or partakes in everything that Epstein was doing.
Yeah, why add
There was
the
also
unnecessary information?
There was also 14 different phone numbers for Trump in Epstein's little black book.
Yep.
So
This was 2002?
that's when the quote was in a New York magazine, 2002.
I mean, if Trump's involved with it, take them all, man. Take them all.
I have a hard time trusting any of the rich and the elite.
Yeah.
Even Donald Trump, like I'll 100% admit he was a better president than Joe Biden, but I still
Keep
question.
an eye on him.
I still question if he's just a part of the whole plot and the whole scheme, and I don't know. I just don't know. I question everything. Even I question my questions. Maybe I'm paranoid.
Blind devotion and obedience is never the way. So
exactly. The blue no matter who, red until I'm dead, that shit's kind of scary to me.
Because it's like,
that's how you elect a dictator.
Blue no matter who, red till you're dead. All right, cool. So if Adolf Hitler walked in the room and he said it was a Democrat, you're voting for him.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Look what happened with it was a local election. I don't remember what it was, but it was like
Here locally?
No,
Okay.
it was like for some kind of council. It was like a non-binary Gothic witch or something that ran as a Republican, and everybody voted. She won.
Wow.
And when it actually came
Was
out,
she a good witch
They
or
were
a bad
like,
witch?
They were like, whoa. This, and they're like,
They
well,
just had no idea.
yeah, they voted Republican without
and
knowing
that's
who the
why it's
candidate was.
dangerous. That's why it's so dangerous to pick a team rather than to pay attention
To
to
who's
like
the best.
That's actually too why I have
Or-
a hard time voting for local politics,
Not
because there's
even-
so much about local politicians that are running for office, even here in Elmira, that I know nothing about. Like, I don't know this person's running points. I don't know what they want to do to change Elmira. I haven't seen anything on social media about this person.
Yeah, because if they do have social media,
Yeah.
it's probably not a ton of information on them, and the signs are just like, vote for me for change.
Yeah,
It's
like, well-
But the
what?
algorithms don't show us that kind of stuff. They don't want us to be involved in such things. So if we want to be involved in our local elections, we actually have to go out and seek it out. They're not going to
Yeah,
give
and
it
actually-
to us. It'd be a completely different ball game if Facebook recognized our IP address, our zip codes, and things like that, and pushed us to be more involved in our communities. But they don't for a reason. When we all know they absolutely could. If Facebook right now wanted to write a code that said we're going to push people to be more informed about their local communities, they absolutely could. So why is it that they don't?
Most people wouldn't care,
Sure, but even people
and the people that
every year new people wake up to it, right?
Yeah, that's
so
true.
every year more and more people will get involved, but that opportunity is being kept from them. You know what I'm saying? Like, Facebook has the power to get people more involved. Instead, they choose to run billion-dollar ad campaigns for whoever's blue. If that's not biased, I don't know what is. It's local politics, all politics. But yes, I don't even believe in voting for who you believe is best. Is who do you best align with? Like, what does being best even mean? What does that mean? The
For
guy
my-
who's going to promise you the most stuff, he's the best because he talks the best?
For myself personally, when I would say who I find the best is the person who I at least align with the most, whose ideas
align
I
with.
agree
Yeah.
with. the
These are
most.
my ideals. This is what I expect out of my representative. How many of these points can we agree on? 8 out of 10? Perfect.
Yeah, not bad.
9 out of 10? 7 out of 10.
Yeah, not if-
6 out of
if it's
10.
not even
6
half-
out of 10 is good. I can work with you 6 out of 10. 2 out of 10? It's not you,
Yeah,
my
'cause
guy.
There's
It's
not,
not
a lot
you.
of people who agree 100%.
Yeah,
on
you're never
anything,
going to.
even if your lifestyles are identical.
Even with your own wife or husband or children, you're not going to agree 100% on everything. That's not how it works. We would be computers if we did.
That's what sucks
it
about
is.
getting two shit sandwiches. It's like, damn, I only agree with this guy 10%, but this guy 15%. But I got to pick one of the two.
Oh, and you know that's coming soon. In like the last 3-4 months leading up to the election, or the lesser of two evils. Blah, 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 blah.
Hey, I'll tell you what, the next election I'll be old enough to run. Maybe I'll run so I can be in that shit sandwich category. But my shit sandwich is a little nuttier. You know, maybe that's what the people need.
You
Something
got
a
that
little,
extra protein.
something a little bit nuttier.
Hey man,
a little
it's
crunchy.
It's what plants need. All right, they
It's got what
need-
plants crave, man. The funny thing is, people were making all these memes about Donald Trump when he first became president, calling him an idiot, though. I'm sure you guys all saw the memes. Him like, oh, it's got electrolytes, is what plants crave, kind of similar to like
Idiocracy.
President Camacho and Idiocracy. But then Biden gets elected, and he's actually the freaking idiot.
Yeah, he's
It's astounding.
Remember what they said. They only need his corporeal form. They didn't
Yeah.
vote for Biden because they thought he was a good choice. They voted for Biden because he wasn't Trump.
He's a good scapegoat
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now,
because his career is almost over.
Yeah.
If they do anything wrong, it's going to be blamed on him, and who cares? He's 80.
not anybody else. If World War III starts, it's not going to be because America did this. It's going to be Joe Biden's fault. Yeah, we're gonna blame Grandpa for World War III. The man can't even stay awake past 8 p.m. It's not his fault.
He could. You just got to give him a little bit of Hunter's
No.
crack.
It's the majority population of America's fault. You voted for this man because you were convinced that he was the lesser of two evils and Donald Trump was Satan and Hitler when he's not. He's just not. Stop listening to bullshit. Like, the man was the absolute most beloved person in New York City as a Democrat
Up until
2016. Like, the fact that you think he's Satan,
The only reason he ran Republican is because he knew
He had to.
He had
he
to.
would
had
win
to.
on the Republican side. The thing is, if he ran Democrat and ran on like Democratic ideals, I'm sure he would have won, even still.
And to even think,
Because
like,
the news wouldn't have been trying to destroy him if he ran as a Democrat and was pushing Democratic ideals.
but he wasn't Democrat enough. But just think about it. Like, he in the 90s was hated by Republicans because of his Democratic viewpoints on abortion, on marriage, on gay rights, on all of it. But now, holding the same views, he's ultra right wing.
Well,
What?
he did flip flop on some of them.
Sure.
People can do that. They can have their views change, and
But he's the only president in history who has been for gay marriage before he won the presidency. Like, he still has very staunch, like,
yeah, even Obama was
classic.
he was against it.
yeah,
and
even
then
Obama was
for
against it
afterwards.
before he ran.
Wait, what?
We were saying even Obama was against gay
Yeah,
marriage
he was against
before
gay
he
marriage.
ran.
Yeah, but I think Obama only said that because he wanted a little bit of slice of the Republican vote.
Yep.
Yeah, it was probably a lie, but yeah, he was the only one that openly said absolutely.
Well, yeah, because he.
I think
obviously he
Donald
would be
Trump is
for it 'cause
actually-
He had his roommate there back in college.
I think Donald Trump actually falls closer under libertarian
Yeah.
ideology now
Oh,
than
yeah.
anything, because he really is just like, get the government out of people's pockets. Like, these people deserve wealth and comfort. Just get them out.
Yeah, government, get the fuck out of my pockets. Quit taking all my freaking credit card tip tax, motherfuckers.
All of it.
There's gonna my paycheck's gonna be heavily taxed this week. I mean, yeah, I got 41 hours, but there's the extra tax from that 1 hour overtime, and I got a lot of credit card tips this week. Like last night, I think I had like 87
It will hurt you.
alone in just credit cards, so it's gonna be like $8 in tax just from that day. I mean, it doesn't seem like a lot, but like when you get $400 a week in credit card tips, that's an extra $40 gone from your paycheck.
Yeah, it does add up for sure.
Yeah. So a name I brought up earlier, that Maria Farmer, who was the person that logged the visitors into Epstein's mansion, 3 of the names she had brought up that were visiting the most, which we already talked about Clinton, we already talked about Trump. Another one she brought up and mentioned that was there a lot was Alan Dershowitz. That's a reoccurring name over and over as I was looking into it. And Dershowitz was actually Trump's lawyer during his presidency.
Who else has that person? I feel like I've heard that before, like that.
Who, Alan Dershowitz?
I feel like that might be one of the stories where, because he had ties with Trump, they're only going to mention the Allen. Yeah.
I think it's just Alan. Alan.
Okay. Oh yeah, first one that comes up. All right, I'll read a little bit about him.
So yeah, he's connected to quite a few people. And then another name that came up quite a few times was Prince Andrew
Yep.
from the royal family.
Yeah, that's right. I've seen
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
So on Epstein's blackbook.com, let's type in.
Oh, actually, reading this, it reminded me. Yeah, I think it's Harvard.
Yeah, he had
So
10
Alan
phone numbers for Alan Dershowitz in the black book.
So he was a professor at Harvard. I believe even to this day, Epstein has a private office at Harvard. I'm pretty sure.
At one point, he actually had something about genetic research at Harvard and was basically trying to do eugenics, where he was like donating his sperm and trying to find the best DNA amongst good-looking women to create offspring with. And Harvard eventually shut it down. I think they realized a little bit like what was going on and kind of shut it down.
Very strange.
That's what sucks. Like, I don't think, like, a lot of the scientists that are connected to Epstein, I don't think for 1 minute a lot of them were involved in the funny shit. Think science has to get funding from somewhere.
Yeah.
And when someone like Epstein comes along and starts opening his wallet, it's hard not to associate with him to get some research done.
Yeah,
you know?
they're going to take the money because
Exactly.
not a lot of it's hard to get funding. And if somebody's willing to do it, there.
But I feel
likely
like we
intake.
might have been conditioned to believe that because of the way scientists are typically portrayed in movies. They're weak, fumbling, kind of socially awkward idiots that just they're never portrayed as the evil like character, but they just end up getting caught up doing these evil scientific experiments for Dr. Evil.
Yeah, there's definitely some people like that.
Yeah, so I'm sure there's a scientist or two out there that is like, yes, these type of people need to die, and I'm trying to create a virus that
Oh, yeah,
targets
of course.
just them. So
Yeah, evil comes in all
shapes and sizes.
sizes.
Wow, he won 13 of 15 murder trials.
Who, Dershowitz?
Yeah.
No,
That's
again, there's always the possibility just because Alan Dershowitz is a common link between one person and Jeffrey Epstein doesn't necessarily mean that that person was doing what Epstein was doing.
For
it's
sure.
it's hard for me to believe Alan Dershowitz didn't know what was going on. I feel like a lot of people's lawyers tend to know what they're up to.
That's the power of attorney, though. But from his record of court cases, he was a damn good lawyer.
Yeah, you
So
can't take that away
if
from him.
You're a damn good lawyer. You're going to be approached by,
Everybody's
Yeah.
going to want you.
and if there's a billionaire that's doing highly illegal stuff, you're gonna be approached by him.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just one of those things. Not really coincidence, but more of, circumstance. You put yourself in a position where you're going to be contacted by criminals. Like, if you're a lawyer, you're going to be contacted by criminals. They're going to be the people you talk to.
Yeah, because the criminals are the ones that need the good lawyers.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dershowitz is another name that was also on the flight logs a couple times, quite a few times.
If you're somebody's personal attorney, I mean, it makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It makes sense. Especially if it's like, hey, I don't want to talk to you over the phone about this issue. Oh, you're here right now? Well, I'm going to come pick you up in my private plane and then...
I don't trust the
let me
man to
know.
begin with, though, because he said he doesn't like massages. Who the fuck doesn't like a massage?
Some people don't like people touching them.
Yeah.
You're crazy,
No,
crazy.
for
unless,
sure.
Unless you're
there's a lot of
unless
people
you're
out there.
autistic and you don't like that kind of the sensory feelings
Overstimulation.
of it, the overstimulation.
Yeah,
but
I
I
mean,
don't for
some
1
people
minute
don't
take
like
him as an autistic person.
Boundaries crossed at all. They're,
Yeah.
like,
It's the same thing
It's
with
just
like,
because in the one video where he was being accused of getting massages from these sex trafficked girls from Epstein, there was one where he finally opened up and admitted because his name was on the visitor's log so much for Epstein's mansion there in Manhattan, he said that he received one massage one time because he doesn't like massages and his underwear was on.
So he
And
probably...
I just don't believe him.
He probably felt guilt. It could be one of the... Now I'm playing a little
It's
bit
because he couldn't hide the fact that he was at that mansion so much where these things were happening.
Yeah.
So he wanted to play it off as though,
Yeah.
okay,
It's not as
one
bad
time
as it-
happened, but
Bullshit.
It very much could have been where he is a genuinely good guy that his conscience got the better of him and he truly was afraid of like getting caught up in something that he didn't do. And he could have come out and said, now I'm playing devil advocate, right? So he could have said, oh, I don't like massages because I was inappropriately touched by a child one time and it made me feel very uncomfortable.
That's an understandable circumstance.
Especially even if you would keep this to yourself, if somebody that you're an attorney for admits that they do weird things with kids and you're gonna be their attorney. I don't know, man.
the bills got to get paid.
Yeah.
It was
the bills.
shortly after this Maria Farmer reported Jeffrey Epstein for abuse. That's when he bought what was it? Little St. James. That's when he ended up buying the island.
I
It
was
was
gonna
shortly.
ask when he acquired that.
It was. I don't have the year written down, but it was shortly after that Maria Farmer had reported him for abuse. He bought Little St. James, which tells me he's like, well, shit. I got close to getting in trouble here, close to getting caught. Let me buy an island where I can be king of the fucking
Was there
island.
anything on the island before, or he built everything that was on
I'm
it?
pretty sure he built everything on it.
Yeah, because it was all weird stuff.
Yeah.
Sundial, a
Yeah.
temple.
Yeah.
Some occult-looking stuff.
Yeah.
Well, people said that there was very strange artwork. He had a very obscure taste.
Well, he had
in
a
art.
very odd painting of Bill Clinton in a blue dress. It's pretty strange. Yeah, you never seen that painting?
No.
Maybe that was
Strange.
one of his fantasies.
Maybe.
It could have been something where he dreamt it, but
I don't know. It was a nice dress.
you said the name
whoever
was
painted
what?
it.
Maria.
Maria Farmer.
Does that have to do with his first allegations where he was investigated?
No, because I think his first allegations where he was investigated is when he was down in Palm Beach, Florida in 2007 or 8.
2005.
2005. I was
Yeah,
close.
You seen the
Close.
painting?
No.
It's
But
great.
he
It's a
was
beautiful dress,
initially-
whoever painted it. Yeah. Yeah.
Wait, is that the Monica Lewinsky dress? That might be the
All right,
Lewinsky
if that's the
dress.
Monica Lewinsky dress, that's a little odd.
It looks like a dress that Hillary wore.
Is Bill a crosser?
Maybe.
It wouldn't
Bum,
surprise me.
bum, bum. Yeah.
Like
Very
a lot of the rich
possible.
and powerful just have very weird and creepy tendencies.
It's because they lose sensation.
Yeah.
So they have to
Yeah,
do
they have all that money
crazier
and power.
things.
They can get away with whatever
They get
want.
bored doing the
So they
regular
try their
old
weird
shit.
fantasies and then
And then they gotta try
end
a
up
new
liking
weird
it, yeah.
fantasy, and then they gotta try a new one. and
yeah, the
then-
curiosity gets the better of them.
human beings, man. Yeah, it is kind of weird to me that we never heard about this thing about Epstein in 2005 about his investigation and when he was officially arrested. And then especially this, like, being accused by 36 people, one of which was a 14-year-old, a majority 15-year-old, and some 16. Like, not a single one of them was of age. 36 children accused this man of inappropriate sexual actions. And he gets this crazy deal to only do 13 months in prison.
Oh, and he was on work release for most of it, where he
Yeah.
could be out of his cell from like 8 in the morning till 8 at night.
That's
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
And
not
here's-
even in
here's-
prison.
here's the crazy
That's not
part.
even prison.
That's like prison in Europe.
Here's the
Like
crazy
some
part.
of the
Do you want to know where he was doing the work? A foundation he created just before going to prison, and then that foundation closed as soon as he got out of prison.
Ah.
Yeah.
Bro.
So again, he was swindling the system.
What? No, he wasn't swindling the system. He was allowed to do this. He was allowed to.
Yeah, because he would have had to know he was
How do
getting
you
caught, have that bill.
just Oh, how do you get 13 months? Like, we all kind of know the answer, but I want to know the real answer, right? Like, how do you only serve 13 months in prison for assaulting 36 people?
And then
36
get out
children.
and be able to continuously do it for another, 15 years?
Oh, when
10 years?
when you got that kind of money, you can,
and know those kinds of people.
This is where the system is kind of fucked,
Insane.
because I guess I'll tie it into this idea, like minor crimes that you won't go to jail for, but you got to pay a fine. Basically, what they're saying is you can get away with this crime if you have the money to pay.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
I've
Yeah,
seen
and
that
it's
analogy
even-
plenty
yeah.
of times.
And
That's
it's not
why
based on
Yep.
income. It's just it's
Yep.
typically a flat fee.
Yep,
So,
so
the rich can do whatever they want.
it
Exactly.
absolutely should be
The rich
based
can-
on income.
the rich can seem to get away with felonies because they can get lawyers good enough to get them off. So
Exactly. So it definitely seems like this country isn't so much about if you're innocent, you will win. It's about how much money,
How much
you
money
got,
and power do
sucker.
you have? Yeah.
yep, how much can we extort from you
Yeah.
allows
I will
what crimes
agree-
you can get away with.
I will agree with the progressive left on that point. Absolutely. There's powers that be that are very corrupt, and this is where capitalism has gotten us. Not saying that this is inherently the fault of capitalism. This is the fault of human beings.
Yeah.
Just like communism and socialism aren't bad ideas. The practice of them by humans is bad. If we weren't human beings, if we were perfect beings, Communism and socialism would absolutely work, but so would capitalism. But we're not. So it doesn't work perfectly.
Capitalism actually could have solved a lot of problems. I don't know if you guys watched the one video
has
I sent
solved
to
a
the
lot of problems.
I don't know if you guys watched the one video I sent to the group where this gentleman was arguing like some of the other problems capitalism could have solved if the people that own some of these corporations weren't so damn greedy. Basically, when things started getting automated, you could basically cut people's schedules in half and make them work half the time, but still pay them the same amount. Another good example I'll use
But then they wouldn't be rich enough to build spacecrafts.
So here's another good example I'll use, and Ross, you'll appreciate this because you work inside at the corporation we work for, which I will not name at the moment, even though I've said it in past episodes. So compared to last year,
You just call it hell.
so last year we had like 1 or 2 extra people working in the store compared to this year, and it seems to be busier now. And with 1 or 2 less people, that's $15 or $30 an hour extra that the corporation or the owner is now making. So now you've got people working their ass off, picking up more responsibilities because there's less people on the clock, but yet you can't pay the 3 people that are inside there $5 more an hour.
No, of course not.
Yeah, they should.
Because-
I might catch some heat for this, but Domino's. Shit, I said it.
Who cares?
It's so damn
this
busy.
This is all corporations.
It's so damn busy in that place. The insiders, in my opinion, deserve $20 an hour.
We do.
It's that hectic
Maybe
and that
even
busy.
more.
That's why I
But
quit.
even when promises
Yeah,
are
so-
made, it's not fulfilled.
I won't say his name, but he who had 52 hours last week, so you know who it is. I felt so bad for him on Tuesday, the day I got chomped in the leg by the dog, because one of the insiders was late, which was an honest mistake that I've made myself, where I wrote down the wrong time on my calendar at home, thinking I was in at 5 when I was in at 4.
That's why I always take a picture of the schedule.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I'll take a
So
picture so I can go home and write it down the days I work, and then somehow like I'll pull up the picture from the week before where I did go in at 5 that
I've
day.
done that.
Yup.
I've done
So
that.
that's completely understandable what this employee did, but he ended up not getting in there till shortly after 4:30, and at like 3:30 we picked up and got busy, and there was no other driver in until 4:30. So while I'm out on the road on a triple, I come back.
Timing.
The timing was crazy because the timing on it was crazy because
See, it's fucking hard, Adam.
yeah. So I come in and poor dude's got a full screen of orders. The oven is about to get backed up, and there's like 2 customers in there with a phone ringing. How do you expect one person to handle all that? It's crazy. And I'm not even mad at the manager for the scheduling, because the manager is expected to keep labor below a certain amount. So
So I'll tell you how. The corporate answer, it's your job.
yeah, the corporate answer should be hire more fucking people. Have more fucking people on the clock and stop. So what Erica told me, everyone knows Erica because she's been here a couple episodes. Basically, what they use is Domino's isn't making enough profit because their profit was down a certain percentage from 2021 to 2022. But even with the percentage it was down, Domino's still made like $1.46 billion in profit
It sounds like
in
the
2022.
CEOs need to take a pay cut.
Yeah. And then pay your fucking employees more, the ones that are making you all the money, the ones that are stressing themselves out to make sure your pizzas are out the door on time, to make sure your times are good, to make sure the food is good, the ones that actually are the reasons you're making the money, because without them you wouldn't make shit.
Well, that's one of the problems with what has happened with capitalism is
Yeah.
there's always a need in the marketplace for entry-level employees. So
Mm-hmm.
no matter what, you will always find people who are looking to enter the job force. It is a fairly decent place.
And maybe
to
everyone should stop
learn some
working for.
skills.
Maybe everyone should try to stop working for corporations. But then again,
Yes.
there's not enough mom and pop places. So here's another thing: when I worked at the dog daycare, which was a small place with only, besides the 3 managers, there was 1 person that worked inside cleaning up the kennels, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, like 5 other employees that would be out in the yard with the dogs, maybe 6 other employees out in the yard with the dogs. How come that small mom and pop place could afford to pay me paid time off, but Domino's can't?
because they don't want to.
Exactly. They're a giant corporation making over $1 billion a year in profit, and they can't afford to pay me paid time off.
So the way it is
Some places do. I think McDonald's does.
Yeah,
Some
they must
do.
be much better than
It does
Domino's.
depend.
Domino's treats their employees like shit.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and say Domino's. I don't care if Domino's watches this. Fire me. I don't care.
All right,
I don't.
bring it down. And trust me,
they
I
don't
feel
wanna-
the
they
same
don't wanna
way,
fire
but
me.
One
There's
here's-
not enough-
thing
there's not
that
enough
would
people
really
on the
help
schedule.
is if they actually put the tipping for the insiders back
Yeah.
in the system.
Put the tip jar back up front.
there's
Pay them more.
So one of the things that I've always known is one of the problems is through corporations where there's a franchise contract, right? So the owner of Domino's, he is beholden to the rules of Domino's, and then there's certain regulations, certain contracts, certain obligations that he is obligated to fulfill, like the stupid deals.
Like one new store every 4 or 5 years, something like that. Or 3
I
years.
don't know the exact rules, but there are rules to
rough.
different things. And just like the specials, how Domino's has their deal or McDonald's used to have the dollar menu, it's one of those things where those costs do come at a steep price to the franchisee. That's why one of the only surefire ways to earn a respectable living as a franchisee is to have multiple stores. Because the amount of profit you're earning from one store, 2 stores as a franchise,
Might be 30 grand a year.
it's not going to be a lot. Not at all. Because you're paying royalties, you're paying for the commercial costs.
Yeah, but when you got 10 stores, now you're making $300,000 a year,
Yes,
and you still can't pay your employees enough, or still can't offer them paid time off. Like, I'm feeling pretty ballsy right now, so I'm going to go ahead and say our current owner's a piece of shit. I've never seen him. He could walk in the store and I wouldn't know who the fuck he is, so he's a piece of shit. The old owners, they were there often. Were they not?
Yes.
Yeah, I respected the hell out of them because at one point when I was working,
I miss them.
when I was working there a decade ago, when there was an issue where, oh man, we've only got one manager. Guess who stepped up and was in that store 4 or 5 times a week? The owner. He was in
For
there,
months.
yeah, for months, busting his ass on the make line with all the insiders.
Oh, yeah, I remember when
Yeah.
they ended up having to fire the manager, and Amy and Chad both came to the store for like 4 months. Yeah.
I respect the hell out of that. But if the current owner walked in, I'd say, "Hey, welcome to Domino's. Did you already have an order?" I wouldn't know who he is. I've been there a year now, and I've never seen him.
Well, that's one of the kind of luxuries is now, to my belief and understanding, now that it's at a position where he has these many stores, he's in a safe spot.
Yeah, 'cause when
to
he
where if
first
anything were to
took over,
happen
he
in
had
one store, he
5?
doesn't have to worry.
5 or 6.
Where if you own just one store, 2 stores, if something drastic happens in one of those stores, you have to take action. Where if one manager quits in one store, you're just like, I don't care.
Yeah, we'll
Take a
find
manager from another store
Yeah.
until we find a replacement. What are you bothering me about this for?
Yeah, that's what just happened with us. We lost our assistant manager, and I'm so glad that he got the opportunity to go be a GM at one of the other stores. But I'd be lying if I said I didn't, if I didn't already miss working with him. Just because, I mean, we lived on the same street growing up. There was 5 people at our store that all grew up on the same street. D Block.
But that is one of the big problems is there is a disconnect from top down. If the owner has no connection to the employees in the store, then he doesn't feel an obligation emotionally or morally to have their back in any situation.
Yeah, having that many stores.
Yeah.
You
I had
don't form
a
any
slight
real
connection with the old owners, and they still
Amy and
fired
Chad?
me. Yeah.
Yeah. So did I, but they've also they kind of treated me like family, and that's one of the reasons why I was so loyal to them and why I worked so hard.
It's amazing what happens when a store owner or a corporation treats their employees well and like actual
they're
humans.
actually people.
Yeah. They want to bust their ass for them. They want to work hard for them. It just
Yeah.
blows my mind.
How many times has he just brought in pizza and ice cream for the employees? He would just come and be like, "Hey, got you guys some donuts?"
Amy and Chad.
Yeah, it still would have been better
when-
though if they paid
Wait,
you more.
when,
instead
when
of
they
giving
would
you
throw
pizza and ice
parties
cream.
and stuff for us, we would have a Christmas party. Or
They used to give
we would
Christmas
get
bonuses too, yeah.
Yep.
And even though the bonuses
Just a
weren't
little
shit
bit of
ton, it's
appreciation.
just that small amount still
It
makes
was
people
something.
feel appreciated.
Instead, it's now, hey, I need help. Will you be an assistant manager? There's bonuses involved. Sure. 2 weeks later, oh, by the way, they're taking bonuses away.
That's exactly what happened to
Cool.
That's exactly what happened to the
So
assistant
the
manager
one
up at our
reason why I
place.
signed on to help is the reason.
Yeah, you're lucky to even get one.
So
one
the
bonus.
old assistant manager
It's
at
not
our
even like it
place.
was a lie. I got like $30.
the old assistant manager at my store that just went to a different store to be GM, that's basically what happened to him. He hopped off the road and took a pay cut from being a driver to be the assistant manager. Now,
But this is probably why he took the spot as GM.
He took the job as the assistant manager because there was the bonus that he was getting, but that only lasted like 4 to 8 weeks, somewhere in there, like a month or 2 months before
now
they took
he
the bonus
sought out
away.
the promotion so that he can make that money back.
Very true. But
It's basically being demoted.
yeah, but in that time, like the only reason he was okay with taking a small pay cut is because he was getting that bonus. Once they took away the bonus, that's a huge pay cut from being a driver. And they at least let him hop back on the road 2 days a week. But it's
So back to Epstein.
Yeah, relieving stress about work is.
I like the sidetracks sometimes.
Oh yeah,
They can be fun.
yeah, they're needed.
They can
But
be
there's
fun.
so much about Epstein. It is hard to talk about children being abused so much.
Let's get on
Yeah,
the let's
And
get on
for some reason today, there must be something with the moon.
So let's get on it's
because
full moon, I'm
today
pretty
is
sure
just-
today, yeah.
Today is just.
So let's get
feels
on the
weird.
debate of did he kill himself?
He absolutely did not.
You don't think he killed himself?
From my understanding, right? So I'm going to run through it all real quick. From my understanding, he was already on suicide watch.
Yeah.
For some reason, he ended up getting a roommate when he wasn't supposed to get a cellmate, when he wasn't supposed to have a cellmate.
Mm-hmm.
All of the cameras failed the day of his suicide. The guards were not present the day of his suicide. And somehow he got a hold of 25 jail uniforms.
That one is a little strange, but I can argue all those other points.
But have you seen the photos of his cellmate? He was
It's-
like some 6'4".
No, his
280
cellmate-
pound
his
Russian.
cellmate
maybe
wasn't in the room when he killed
argue-
himself.
You can maybe argue for each, but when you add them all together,
The
The problem is
information.
there's a lot of misinformation and all that.
Sure. Let's
So
go.
his roommate was moved out of the cell before he killed himself because his roommate was caught with a cell phone. So they moved him to solitary.
Epstein got a hold of his cell phone.
So in the whole prison, the prison was only supposed to house 480 inmates, and at the time there was 750 there. And guess how many guards? Guess how many guards were in that place?
12.
18. And they only had
Throughout the whole prison?
throughout the whole prison, and they only had 2 assigned to watching Epstein. Those 2, they were working their third 16-hour double shift in a row. So,
Okay.
so there's those
No,
points.
totally understand that part.
And there actually has been a huge issue with the cameras in prison systems throughout the whole country. Hold on, I got it jotted down here. I believe it was in 2021. Yeah, the Prison Camera Reform Act of 2021. Because cameras in prison systems were so bad, there was blind spots, there was issues with like the software and hardware that would record it, cameras just not working, faulty equipment.
For sure.
So don't get me wrong, there is a lot of weird coincidences, but the one I can't argue is why there was so many like bed sheets and linens in his room. Now he was also taken off suicide watch before killing himself. He was on some other kind of watch, but it wasn't as strict as suicide watch. That's a huge failure on the prison psychologist. But
Yeah, which is also kind of weird because 5 days prior he tried to kill himself.
it was like
He had
5 days or a
bruises-
week prior.
bruises
Yeah,
on his neck.
yeah, he had a failed suicide
Yeah.
attempt. But if he's a
And 5
swindler,
days later.
if he's a swindler, it's very possible he was able to swindle the
Prison
jail
psychologist.
psychologist.
There's also
He was also
some
saying
information.
that he would never kill himself, no matter how.
Well,
Like, no matter
sometimes
how bad
people
things
who are
happen.
suicidal will say that just to
Also, too, when you
be like,
realize,
yeah, I just need a bottle of Vicodin. Trust me, I'm not going to kill myself with it.
also too, when you realize, like, hey, man, I might really be spending the rest of my life in here.
Your mentality can change real quick.
Especially
that's
when
true.
you know how they treat people that mess around with underage kids in prison. So there's that, and the conditions at this place were absolutely terrible. Hold on, I got it written down. The nickname of this place was Little Gitmo. That's what they nicknamed MCC.
There was other information that, of course, I didn't get time to really dig into it, but there are records of the 2 guards that were in charge of Epstein. They were searching just before Epstein's death, they were searching like very large ticket items. Like one was looking at a new house, another one was looking at a
Yep.
speedboat.
And they were on Facebook a lot on their phones.
Strange
Yep.
kind of. Sure.
So they also
if you add all of these things together, like all of your examples, if you put them all together, makes sense. Put all of the other examples together.
Kind of like the elections.
Right. So with your argument, you put of all of those together, he killed himself. You put all of the other ones together.
even with my arguments,
he didn't kill himself.
Even with my arguments of him killing himself, it very well sounds like they could have set the stage for him to do it with all those linens being in there. So they were the watch he was on every 30 minutes. They were supposed to come by and check his cell because suicide watch, you're constantly being monitored.
I mean, even his cellmate, it could have been as very
Planted
easy
cell
as
phone.
to like not just planted. Yeah,
They
planted a
they
cell
gave
phone.
to get him out of the cell.
cellmate to actually,
Think about like, hey Epstein, I got this phone. He said call him. Who's him? You know who. And
You
you've
better
got
kill
24
yourself
hours
tonight.
to kill yourself, or you're gonna like anything.
Mm-hmm.
Literally anything could have happened.
So
or
they
even
set the
just
stage
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah,
or
24.
even the
So they
cellmate said for
essentially
himself.
killed him, but
You
they
got
made
it.
it look like he did it himself.
You got 24 hours to kill yourself, or we're
Even if
sending
it's,
Big Bubba down to your cell.
Exactly.
And he's
Even
going to
if
have
it's
his way
not
with you.
the cell phone, if it was just the inmate himself who was like, "So I heard you like to touch kids. Guess what? You're gonna get every single day for the rest of your
The
sentence.
broomstick.
A big old cock meat sandwich. You know,
Oh, the cock meat sandwich. I haven't heard that since
Harold and Kumar.
Harold and Kumar escaped Guantanamo
Exactly.
Bay.
So who
Can't wait
knows?
for the new one.
So it
Wait,
New
time out.
Harold and Kumar.
Time out.
No way.
Side conversation.
Yep.
What do you mean, new Harold and Kumar?
Yeah, there was an advertisement for a new Harold and Kumar coming out next year.
Really?
no. Speaking of movies, have you guys seen these weird commercials? Not commercials, but previews for the Nephilim movie?
No, that sounds
I think it's
interesting.
AI generated, but yeah, it's basically people are saying it's the remember how we said they have to tell you what they're going to do before they do it? One
Yeah.
of those kinds of things.
Speaking of AI generated, kind of sidetracked, but AI is getting so scary. Some guy made an AI music video. It's Drake and Future rapping about Jesus. Don't get me wrong, the lyrics are great. The dude that made the AI video actually wrote the lyrics, but it legit looks and sounds like Drake and Future are rapping about
I haven't
Jesus.
heard. I've heard about it. I have not heard it.
That's
It's-
crazy.
It's honestly a good song. I think the dude should have just rapped it himself. It may have been better, unless he's got a really bad voice. But
So I mean,
but that's scary how good AI is getting with that. Like scary.
yeah. Pretty soon we're going to be to the point where if you have dissident thoughts, I mean, they already have control of your personality online. So they'll just get rid of you and pretend they're you. You know? So if
kind of like that short film we watched at the.
if
film
a
festival.
celebrity doesn't want to fall in line, all right, cool. We know everything about you.
We'll
we
just
know what
use
your
your
voice
deepfake
is
that
like.
we've
Yeah,
been
we'll just
developing
deep fake the
for-
shit out of you for 5 years and then say you died in a boating accident.
or
What
move
do
to
we
some
care?
country where
Yeah.
you went to Russia. You moved to Russia.
So back to on it, if Epstein killed himself, because I'm still arguing that he actually did kill
The
himself.
memes prove he didn't.
So that prison, obviously, they had a major staffing problem with only 18 guards. But from what I gathered, is they were making nurses, medical staff, and even kitchen staff act as guards in that prison, which means they didn't. Yeah, which means they didn't have
Yo,
proper training
I
to
could
be
see
doing
some
what they're
dude
doing.
with a hairnet and a beard net with a ladle coming out like, keep it down. Absolutely not. I would never in my life. Like, I'm sorry. I'm making soup that these prisoners hate and they want to kill me over. I am not stepping foot out there.
And Epstein was also, shortly before his death, he was complaining about some of the conditions in the place. His toilet wouldn't stop running. A lot of the toilets actually leaked sewage. He had sleep apnea, and they wouldn't give him his sleep apnea machine, so he was having a very hard time sleeping.
Oh yeah, he was sleep deprived.
Yeah, so many of these conditions could have played a role in his psychological state and finally just saying, fuck it, I got to do it. And another argument, too, was when there
But
was...
he could have
There was one argument that the bone right here, I can't remember what it's
No,
called.
he's too intelligent. He's too charismatic. He would have known. He had already gotten out of an extended sentence.
I don't think he was getting out of this one.
Right. Not out of it. Sure. Even if he is a smart enough man
He could have got
and
switched to a
charismatic
better
enough,
prison.
he could have said, I will give you whatever information you want. Send me to a minimum security prison with the best conditions,
That's
and
what
I
I was
will
thinking, too.
give
How
you
wasn't he
names that
already
you
sent
would
to
never
one?
expect.
So then how does that explain his first failed suicide attempt? Because he obviously tried once. And there was an argument that the bone...
No.
there was
Typically,
an-
when men fail a suicide,
So-
it's for attention.
Yeah,
So-
he didn't really want it to happen.
He wanted people to believe that he was going to, so they would move him to better conditions.
Yeah, well, they didn't. There was one argument that the bone right here in the front of your neck, I can't remember the name of the bone, but they say that's normally broken during like an actual murder, like a strangulation. However, when you look into it, when you are older, the bone becomes more fragile or frail. And in your 60s, which Epstein was, I believe, 61, 66, that bone can break when you're hanging yourself at that age. So that's one of the other things I came across to argue for that he actually
He was brittle.
did.
It could have been an accidental fake attempt.
Another
right?
thing too is that prison,
But didn't
like
he have
2 years after
bruises
Epstein was,
all over his face as well? Like he kind of looked like he got beaten.
I think he was just headbanging it out, mashing around his cell to some heavy metal before doing it. You know, banged his face on the bed a couple times. That I don't know. I actually,
I don't.
I gotta find a picture of.
If Epstein was a metalhead, I'm never listening to metal again.
Nah, he probably wasn't. He strikes me as he strikes
was
me
a
as kind of
Taylor
like
Swift.
I was just gonna say he was a Swiftie.
He was a Swiftie.
Let me Google his
You guys seen that
photos.
Meat Canyon Taylor Swift video?
Nah, yeah, I heard it's so
it's
good. She kind of looks like what was it from?
Yeah,
Left
you
4
got to stop
Dead?
playing with
One
that
of those-
cord.
Damn it! I can't.
I'm gonna bring you a stress ball to play with instead of that cord.
You want squeaky, 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 squeaky,
Nah,
squeaky,
stress balls are
squeaky.
silent.
Yeah, they're just.
Oh, not in my hands. It won't be.
No, it will be. It's just foam.
Yeah, just foam.
It won't be.
Or you can get the ones where like the eyes pop out, like the rubber balls.
Yes.
I used to have
The
those.
eyes and the ears.
Come on, Duck, Duck, Go. Where's his death photos? Show me. I can handle it.
Told you. Go on Brave.
Yeah,
or
I guess-
Twitter.
I'm
I
on.
bet they're
I'm on.
still all over Twitter.
I'm on Brave on Duck, Duck, Go. And I'm
Brave
still
is
not.
its own browser. Wait, you went on to Brave browser to open up a new browser?
No, I went on.
Brave is its own browser, like Google Chrome.
Yeah, but even on Google Chrome, you got to go to Google to search stuff. Google is the search engine,
Yeah.
and Brave is.
So what I mean,
Or-
you're on.
I'm on the Brave browser using
Right.
DuckDuckGo as my search engine.
Chrome itself is the browser, but if you go up to the search bar and you just type in like vague words, it'll instantly go to Google. It just does. Brave does the same thing. It's its own browser.
But yeah, I didn't think of looking at.
Yeah, still, it's only there's
his
only
death
like
photos.
there's only like one photo that's coming up, and it's a bad angle.
Yeah, of course.
Is it his autopsy? Like when they had him on the table and he's.
No. So this is the one thing though I can't answer is why there's so many damn linens in his room. Like way more than would be needed for his bed. That's one thing I
Yeah,
can't
for
really.
no reason.
That's one thing I can't really argue against unless it's like the idea that, hey, we're basically setting you up to kill yourself. Like you got no choice. You're gonna do it, or we're gonna have somebody else come in here and do it in a way you're not gonna like.
Maybe it's a prison thing, you know? Maybe like if some dude gives you his jumper, that's a sign that, you know, he's got it out for you or something.
So did you know the two guards were also charged criminally for falsifying documents? Because they were
I have
supposed
heard that.
because they were supposed to be checking on Epstein every 30 minutes. It was after like 3 a.m. the night he killed himself. They stopped checking. And they falsified the documents saying that they were checking, but one of the cameras in the guard shack actually showed one of the guards sleeping. So, yeah, so he was just sleeping. And it's not hard to believe human incompetence or negligence, because that. I mean, how many jobs have you worked where there's always been one person that's just negligent or incompetent or just lazy, or there's always one.
I fell asleep at
Always
work
one.
before
Yeah.
when
I
we
think
were
we all
working
have.
like 60-hour weeks.
Oh, hey, I've done it. Hey, I got in trouble big time for where I did it. It happened to me in Iraq. There was one night there was one night. So I worked a night shift, and there was one day, for whatever reason, I just could not fall asleep throughout that day. So now I've been up over 24 hours when I got to go back on my post, and yeah, it was bad. I got my ass reamed. Boy, I'm not afraid to admit it. And they made me stand the rest of the night. They took away my chair, so I was standing the rest of the night. Yeah.
See, that's where I would succeed because I can fall asleep standing up.
I mean,
OG.
I've never tried. Marines can damn near almost fall asleep anywhere. I've fallen asleep on concrete using my Kevlar as a pillow. Yeah, so there was when I was going to get my license for my Humvee. It's what's called a conditional driver's license. Even though I wasn't Motor T, I was getting my conditional driver's license so I could still drive on convoys in Iraq. So there was some mornings we'd get there and Motor T would be a little behind and not ready to go. So we'd sit around for like anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour before we got to driving. What are we going to do? We're going to lay down and take a quick nap. Even, if we were up partying the night before or just didn't sleep well or playing video games late at night and only got 6 hours of sleep. Oh, shit, cool. I got an hour to take a nap. I'm going to do it right here on the concrete using this nice soft Kevlar as a pillow.
I mean, cold concrete is actually pretty nice. It's comfortable. Not comfortable, but soothing.
So it probably would have been pretty good for my back too, but I hadn't hurt my back yet at that point. It wasn't until I was in Iraq that I hurt my back. So I don't know if you've ever seen the video of Quentin Rampage Jackson over in Pride picking the guy up when he was in like a triangle choke and power bombing him. Yeah, it's not quite as violent when it happened to me, and I didn't get picked up quite as high. But instead of the kid picking me up and slamming me straight back down, he fell forward, and my legs were up over my head, and all 225, 230 pounds of his weight came down on the back of my legs, and the snap, crackle, pop it made. I'll never get that sound out of my head. It was disgusting.
Well, that's mixed martial arts fighting.
Yeah, it was to get my my green belt in McMAP, which is the Marine Corps Martial Arts program. Yeah, we were doing something called the Gauntlet, which can be pretty tiring. And my dumbass volunteered to get in the middle of the Gauntlet first. So there was, I think, 12 people in our class, and the Gauntlet was for 1 minute. You grapple each person. After the first minute's up, you go against the second person. After that minute's up, you go against the third. And I think he was like about the sixth or seventh person, and I was getting a little tired. Now, triangle choke is not something we were learning in the Greenbelt course, but because I had an older brother that was doing amateur mixed martial arts when I was home one time, I was taught the triangle choke, and I also was already watching UFC at the time. So I pulled guard on the kid, and we were supposed to stay on our knees, so we didn't start standing. We were on our knees. He came in, and I fell over backwards and pulled guard, and I had his arm, and it pulled right in, and the triangle choke was just there. So I threw my legs up, got him in the triangle choke. He started to panic, which you can't really, blame somebody when they're getting the shit choked out of them to panic. So he hops up to his feet, and because I was maybe 160 pounds at the time, like 65, 70 pounds less than him, he stands up to his feet, and he lifts me up to about, like up here in the air where he's standing, and my back is like flat. Now, if he slammed me straight down, it's possible I could have sunk the choke in even deeper. It may have knocked the wind out of me a little bit, but when he stumbled forward, that's where he came falling forward, and my legs were up over my head, and didn't
Fucking
get to
crinkled you.
That was the absolute most pain I've ever been in my life, and I still to this day have issues with my lower back.
How long were you completely out for? Like,
I wasn't completely out.
Well,
but
I meant not. I assume you weren't able to walk for a while.
yeah, I literally almost couldn't. Like, you ever seen an old man trying to walk? And here's the worst part: the very next day, I had to walk the half a mile to get to where my work site was for the communication center from my hooch where I was sleeping. So I literally had to wake up, and it took me probably over an hour to walk that half mile that next day. And the worst part was because we were
You weren't in the infirmary?
No, they sent me to the medical on base. It took like 20 minutes for a corpsman to even get there to check me out. They sent me to the medical on base. They took x-rays, which probably didn't show a whole ton. They said I bruised my spine, and they tried telling me I tore every muscle from my lower back down, like not just pulled, but tore. And I still feel like there was more than that. They never took like MRIs or anything else. And basically I was on like limited duty and didn't have to do much for like a month and a half, 2 months. And then finally, once I felt good to go, it was right back to work. No physical therapy, nothing. Right. And that's probably part of the reason why I still have issues with it today, is because I never did any physical therapy to re-strengthen the muscles or to realign anything. Well, I think I just need a ring dinger. I don't know if you guys have ever seen a ring dinger. I'll show you a ring dinger when we're done here. Oh my God, I want to go to Texas and get one so bad.
It sounds kind of, maybe, but I mean, it's, the government, so why would they offer proper health care,
If I was stateside, they probably would have sent me to physical therapy, because my unit once sent me to physical therapy after spraining my ankle. But by then it was probably already too late anyways, because that was like the 5th out of 7 times I sprained my 2 ankles. The 5th, 6th, and 7th, they sent me to physical therapy. But the first 4, I think, were before the Marine Corps. Or maybe I had 3 before and then 4 during. Dude, the one time was bullshit. Not to get too much into story mode, but we were playing flag football one day for PT to have a fun PT. And the field we were on had a hole in it. The play was over. I was walking back to the huddle and stepped in the hole and sprained my ankle. And then the second time, all I did was step off the basketball court, which was like, from the basketball court to the ground was like that much of a difference.
That's all it
and
takes.
I sprained my ankle doing that. I'm like, why do I got to have bitch ankles?
I mean, it's all right. I broke my foot one time playing basketball. I've never sprained an ankle. No?
No.
I've sprained my left ankle so many times that I can now, like, click it whenever I want.
That's what my right one does.
Click, click.
You hear it?
Click, click. Click, click.
Ew.
Yeah.
Yours is louder than mine.
Yeah, mine's real loud. That's my right one. That's the one I've done 4 times. I've done the left 3.
I can usually get mine better when I'm like, is it? Yeah, my left.
But it probably helps. I can stand on the side of my ankles straight up, and I'm fine.
Are you even human?
You got rubber ankles. They don't snap.
You might just be a reptile.
The most annoying thing was every time it happened, the doctor's saying, "Oh, you would have been better off breaking it. You would have been better off breaking it, you see?"
So break it for me.
Because when you break it, I mean, it was already sprained.
Actually realign
they can realign it, set it. What I was told is most sprains don't usually heal properly.
So why don't they break it and realign? Never mind.
Because I think, isn't the sprain with the tendon and not with the bone?
Yeah, like it's sprain is like an overextension of the tendon where sometimes it can rip.
Okay.
Because like tendons are where the 2 muscle fibers join from bone to bone. That's a tendon, yeah?
Probably.
Pretty sure the tendons are what help the areas bend, like in your knee, your ankle, shoulders.
But it's usually like fibrous things. So like in your elbow, you have tendon. It's fibrous material that connect one bone to the other. Otherwise, you would just have a jelly arm sitting inside of flesh.
That'd be kind of creepy looking. So let's go and Google exactly what a tendon is.
It's like a white fibrous material connecting bone to bone.
There's another term for a tendon. A tendon or sinew is a tough band of dense fibrous connective tissue that connects muscle to bone.
Oh, muscle to bone.
Yeah, it sends the mechanical forces of the muscle interaction to the skeletal system while withstanding tension. Tendons, like ligaments, are made of collagen.
Every muscle has tendons, and that's just the only thing that's holding your muscle to your tendon? Oh, yeah, because I've seen these videos before of people doing like power curls, and then you hear it snap, and then their bicep is all the way in their shoulder.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, that's a tendon snapping.
Oh, you guys know the name John Jones?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably the greatest.
Well, he just straight up
martial
snapped
artist
his leg.
He's the one that lived
No. Yeah,
Oh,
he's from Union Endicott. Probably the greatest mixed martial artist of all time. Recently, he was training with Yoel Romero, and he tore the pectoral muscle completely off the bone in his breastplate. Ooh. Yeah, that's got to be so painful because he was
Like from his shoulder to his breast.
The muscles right here in his chest, I believe.
Oh,
completely,
in the front there.
Yeah, completely tore him right off the bone.
That's what happened. Yeah, I've seen he was getting ready for a fight. And
yeah, he was
no
supposed to fight Stipe, and he's going to be out for like another 8 more months. Like, that's got to be so painful, tearing your muscle right off the bone.
Yeah, because they have to do a surgery. They have to cut you open, pull it, because you got to think, muscles are almost always contracted, right? So if your arms are hanging down, you don't really feel much. But if you were to snap that right now, it's a rubber band. So your muscle is flying up into your shoulder. The only thing stopping it is your tendon. So, like, your chest, if it right there, right up into
Painful. The worst bone to break or crack, mine was just cracked, was the tailbone. Oh.
Yeah, I heard that's a rough recovery.
Oh, the tailbone just hurts like a motherfucker. There's no way to get comfortable. Walking hurts, sitting hurts, it just hurts. It sucks.
I would imagine snapping
the femur
would probably be.
We had a kid
like a full.
Yep, we had a kid in high school snap his femur in a dirt bike accident. Yeah, that's got to be because that's like the thickest bone in the body, isn't it? Yeah, that's got to be so painful to break.
And like that's an instant surgery.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, they're going in and they're putting screws and bolts in you.
Pins in there to put it back into place and to hold it into place.
If you're too young,
may as well just get a new leg.
Or just cut it off. Because, like, if you're younger and still growing, you're never going to grow correctly. Like, that leg is never going to be the same length as the other. And it's always going to hurt because it's going to want to, like, stretch. And then if you, for some reason, disproportionately grow, like, you're a 16-year-old kid and you're just starting to go through puberty, and then, boom, sometime between the years of 17 and 18 years old, you grow like a mountain, that would hurt so bad because your leg is trying to rip itself apart.
Yeah, because sometimes growing hurts as it is.
Yeah, growing pains. Now imagine having 2 metal plates that won't grow with you. Actually, I think I've seen new medical stuff with that where they'll actually put like a special thing in your leg. I'm not sure what they're called, but they're
like a malleable.
It's got teeth on each one, right? It's got jagged teeth with a plate. So when you're growing, they just stick these things in the end, and they can crank.
In the future, they'll have nanotechnology that does grow with you.
Yeah,
that'll be interesting.
I mean, I'm sure they would just heal you,
And so, in conclusion, to piss a lot of people off, Epstein did kill himself. Prove me wrong.
Prove he did kill himself.
What would you put it percentage-wise? What
likelihood?
Yeah, that he did. I'm saying like 20.
I mean, we don't have
at least 50.
We don't have the full story. Like, so many things could have happened. I believe he was too intelligent. He was too charismatic. He was too wealthy. He knew too many people. He could have lived a comfortable life in prison for the rest of his life, especially with the names that he had.
Depending where in prison he was or what prison they put him in.
I think if he really wanted to, he could have gone to any prison he wanted. Like, think about it.
Yeah,
I think the kind of names he would have.
But my question is, though, that first suicide attempt, like that is a little bit of proof there he was feeling somewhat suicidal.
The fact that he failed is proof that he wasn't trying to kill himself.
I mean, you don't have a ton of options in prison to do it. It's not like you could just take a gun to your head and pop.
Right, but if you want to, you will. You know,
and he did the second time.
Maybe.
Yeah, from all the information that we've looked up, I think the more likely scenario is that he did do it, but he was forced to.
They set him up for success the second time to be able to do it.
I think that's what it seems.
He could have also been given the option, like, you do it or we're going to.
Because all the dirt he had on people, if it came out that his head was just smashed or something,
Yeah,
Then it's
people
hard
would
to-
have been like, okay,
It's hard to
come on.
believe somebody would have committed
But-
suicide in that way, like
Yeah.
or like a shotgun blast to the back of the head.
Yeah,
or
no,
but
just
the cameras
falling
that
off a balcony.
the
or
cameras that were
anything
work
suspicious.
the cameras that were working in that prison, none of those cameras picked up anybody coming or going from the area where Epstein's cell was. So it's really hard to say that unless one of the guards did it
Sure.
during one of their checks, it's hard to say somebody else was allowed to go in there and do it.
Do we how recently before was his cellmate moved?
I want to say a day or two.
Okay.
There was also a whole Department of Justice report in 2016 before he offed himself about the camera prison systems and how there were so many broken and blind spot and faulty spots in America's prison systems. So that was before Epstein was even put into prison.
So this
they-
is where I'm going to find a loophole. Is it still suicide if it's the only option you're given?
Oh, like if you're a prisoner of war and they're about to torture you to death, and then you
Or
kill your. it's
in
pretty
in
much
my
same
other
scenario.
example, you kill yourself, or we're going to rape you and beat you and kill you ourselves.
Or kind of like if you're in a tall tower and it's like falling, you kind of have
Yeah.
to jump out the window.
So, like,
'Cause he'd rather
could
not
you
burn to
still consider that like true suicide, or was he forced into it? Yeah, it's possible.
The world may never know.
I think personally, it was the invisible lizard people, because like he had some of the-
Lizard.
Invisible lizards. Have you ever heard of a chameleon? Hello. Some of their names were on it. He was going to expose the inner Earth lizard people, and they needed him gone.
Yeah, but they don't even have names. They go by sound effects.
Is pretty discernible. That's a
I've
name,
seen
right?
some of those on the flight log.
I like
a bunch
the-
of S's with a KO.
I like to think that alien AI android robots communicate with each other in dubstep noises. Dope wop.
Oh, I actually got a 2-hour long list. I'll send you. It's like an autoplay thing, but it's pretty good. Pretty good. It's
Oh.
like
Was it got a lot of dubstep on it?
it's kind of like music you would hear in Cyberpunk 2020. So
2077.
Yeah. That was pretty good.
I've listened to a little bit of cyberpunk. It's not bad, but it's definitely not one of my go-tos. It's a genre I've dove into.
Well, I'm gonna send you the link anyways. Okay.
Dude, a strangely, I guess they call it like gangster music or car bass music, but
Yeah, I could see that.
no, there's that genre is I'm actually quite fond of it. I've gotten into it recently.
I would.
Two artists I'm quite fond of are Madness, but it's spelled MVDNES, and then the other one is Key and Daiso. I've become quite fond of their music. Another one is GRDNO. I'm guessing it's pronounced Giardino, kind of like the food stuff, but it's just GRDNO.
Yeah.
And then TBT is the other one.
The music I would describe in like cyberpunk and stuff is
Futuristic.
futuristic, dark, dystopian techno.
They probably went to the future.
If you
seeing
want-
we're getting a glimpse of what it is going to be.
If you want like a darker style of like house music or like techno or like dark house, look up Rez, especially her EP or mixtape. It's called Nightmare on Rez Street 2. It's good. It's good. She's signed to Deadmau5's music label.
Oh,
and
Deadmau5.
yeah, her and Deadmau5 do some stuff together. They go by Rezmouse when they do work together.
That's nice.
Kinda like Boots and Cats and Boots
pretty
and
good.
Cats and-
Cats and Boots and
Yep.
Boots and Cats.
Wait,
and Boots
he
and
let
Cats.
her put her name first? Oh, she
Yeah, I
must
think
be
so.
some shit.
I don't know. I really like her glasses, though. You may have even seen like advertisements for her glasses on sale on Facebook.
Hey,
They're the.
Wait, are you wearing different glasses? When'd you get those ones?
No, I've had these ones on the whole episode.
Mm,
Whole episode. So, her glasses though, they're circular with like the LED lights on the outside that face outward. You may have seen them.
I've seen a lot of
So.
weird LED stuff. Who knows? Maybe at some point in the future.
Maybe he's still alive.
So I actually
that is a possibility.
I actually had this debate once that someone said, "Oh, he's still alive," and they moved him out to some island.
And they had a look-alike.
My thing is, I don't think the elites care about one another. They only care about protecting their way of life and preserving their wealth and their power. So they really don't care about one another.
A lot of them
And it
do
is
lack
about
empathy,
greed.
so...
Yeah. And if it comes to this one, I mean, we could just see it on our like peasant level. If one individual risks your livelihood, you're not going to deal with them. You're not going to put up with it. You're going to be like, okay, you're gone.
Yep.
It was kind of like, I've seen this in other positions, and of course I had to deal with this as a manager myself. I'm not going to allow one employee to jeopardize, one, my job, two, the business to the people that I owe the loyalty to, and three, to the safety and security of all the other employees in the store. So, yeah, you're just one person. Get out. You're gone.
Fuck out of here.
Yeah.
I think that's why he was given all those bed sheets. I even if I think he killed himself, I think he was almost put into a position where he was forced to do such.
Or they just
You know what
wanted
we
him to be
didn't think
really
about?
comfortable.
He was trying to escape. He was going to pull the old tie all of the uniforms together and jump through the window. And then he was just testing. Crap, do I tie this around my neck? And then he slipped.
Oh,
and
no,
fell
he did it around his waist to test the weight, but it slipped up and got tight.
Yeah.
Damn, rookie mistake. Rookie mistake.
I don't believe that he did it willingly. If he did technically kill himself, I don't believe it was willingly. But either way, even if he were to testify
I can hear
against
your
all
gum
the
in the
people he
microphone.
planned on testifying against, he would have died. He would have. Like, this one man has just blurted out 90 names of the most wealthy and powerful individuals on the planet. You're going to die. Because every single one of those people is going to offer $1 million to another inmate, and you will not survive.
So, Jeffrey, if you're still out there,
Get a
Give
hold
us a
of us.
call.
Yeah, get a
we'd-
hold of us.
we'd
Yeah,
love
come
to
on
talk
to
Tell
our
us the
podcast.
real
We'd love to
truth.
talk to you, bud.
Let us know what really went down.
Yeah.
Who wants to cut the outro today?
We seem to be doing good with the...
yeah, back and forth,
Yeah.
Yeah, today was an interesting episode.
I'm going to blame the moon. Everyone else blames the moon for everything.
Yeah.
I feel like we were a little
Oh,
off today
The
because
moon
the
was
moon.
real.
Let's shout out to the guys that we know of that actually went to the island. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah,
yeah,
Tyler Oliveira for one. Go check
I
out
just
his
seen
episode.
that episode yesterday.
Yeah, I like Tyler Oliveira's channel. I do.
He just put on a new video.
I'll have to look at him.
ONN, Oliveira News Network.
Was he the... he's a bit of a conspiracy theorist. He goes on to Joe Rogan?
I've never seen him on Joe
No.
Rogan.
Yeah,
All right, so
I
I'm
don't
thinking...
think so.
I'm thinking of Eddie something.
Eddie Bravo.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
You're thinking Eddie
I'm thinking
Bravo.
of Eddie
You got to
Bravo.
look into it, man. You got to look into it.
A couple of the other people would be Luke Rukowski and Jeff Berkwick, who traveled to the island, took photos, were interviewed by the New York Post about what they saw on the island. I actually personally follow Luke Rukowski. I started watching him on his program called We Are Change through Timcast.
Yeah,
Fantastic. I love Luke's energy. He's a fantastic guy. And stop eating seed oils, all right? They're bad for you. It's killing us all. Stop with the seed oils. Yeah, interesting one.
Avocado oil.
Definitely the moon. And I think the planet's just been on fire since there's been really no news since Thursday. So everything that's going to be on the TV or on your computer here in about an hour is going to be an absolute dumpster fire.
I
Yeah.
think within the next 3 to 6 months, we're going to get some real fire to talk about on this podcast. It's been, I feel like, a little quiet
It has been
the last
very-
couple months. Like when we first got together and started talking about doing this
Yeah, it's when
podcast,
Russia
I feel like it was
was-
every
it seemed
fucking
like
week
everything
something was
was
happening.
Ukraine was huge.
And now it's been
Well,
minus
now Israel's
Israel and
huge.
Palestine. That's about the biggest
Yeah,
thing.
that's starting to calm down.
That seems to be dividing the country in a strange way.
because it's division in between both camps, which is something people weren't expecting, and I'm fucking all for it. Be like, oh, look, the classical Democrats are fighting with the communists.
I mean, you got some people that are in support of Palestine and Hamas. You got some people that are in support of Israel. For once, though, I feel like we're actually at a point where you can actually criticize the state of Israel and the Zionists without being called an anti-Semite.
Yeah.
Which is
But honestly,
strange.
I know nothing about them. But I stand with my original statement. If what you teach or preach involves murdering innocent children,
I'm not with it.
You're the evil one.
Yeah, I'm not with it.
You're evil.
Yeah,
I
but-
don't care.
So
Both sides. If
yeah,
both
I was
sides
just
are
gonna,
doing it,
I
you're
was
both
just,
evil.
I was just going to say
and-
that because aren't both sides doing it?
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
both evil. Fuck
Yeah.
out of here. You
All right,
go
and on
destroy
that
each
note-
other.
Find us on all the social medias. Comment, like, share, subscribe. Share with your friends.
Smash that Rumble button.
Yep, we
Drop kick the like button.
I'm gonna do that today. I
Yeah.
keep forgetting to finish that Rumble account, but I'll get all the episodes uploaded.
Let's
and-
get ready to rumble.
Yeah. We
are we
we're
doing-
definitely gonna
what are we
try
doing
to
next week?
start.
I don't know yet.
We really got to get like
Our
we
guest,
got to get a schedule.
Yeah, we
to
should,
where
we should get another
decide
guest.
things
It's been like
on
three
yeah.
our guest
yeah,
that was
has it
supposed to be here today messaged me right before we started recording, so I can
really?
message him back and see what's up, and maybe he's got next Monday off.
Okay.
Well,
and if that's
even
the
if
case,
not
we
next
can.
next Monday, we could do the Monday after. But
It'll suck if he works every Monday.
we
depending
got to
what
do
shift
some
he
kind of
works,
like
too.
mass advertisement program, like I don't know, going
Like a mass
store to store,
like a
or
mass
just-
hypnosis program where we just hypnotize
No.
everybody into watching our
No,
podcast.
we just like
watch our podcast.
Oh, buy some
Watch our
commercial space
podcast.
and
no, we just
Hypnotize.
bot spam people on Facebook like. Hey, you got something interesting to talk about, or do you own a local business, or things like that? Do you happen to be an educator in our local school system, or do you work for the state at all?
yeah. Let me see if I know anybody that
We
would
definitely
be
need to start. It's difficult, man.
booking people in advance and having a couple extras just in
Yeah.
case one doesn't work out.
I know
Especially
somebody.
if we could get like months and months ahead of time.
Yeah.
I know someone we
episodes
can
planned.
we can talk to specifically about DMT.
Oh yeah.
He's done a lot of DMT more than anybody I know.
If you say Jimi Hendrix, he's still.
You know, I
I've
haven't
seen him
seen
last
Elmira's
year.
Jim. I haven't seen Elmira's Jimmy recently, and I'm a little nervous because it's
Yeah.
been a while since I've seen him.
Oh, he's old. now,
Yeah, and
so
normally-
he's probably unable.
Normally, I used to see
Gotta
him
be about
like
65, 66, somewhere
yeah.
around there.
I feel like I used to see him like once a week walking
Oh,
around
yeah,
my
maybe
neighborhood,
close
and
to
I
that.
he
have
used
not
to
seen him
always
at
be
all.
around McDonald's, but
Yeah,
chances are he's gotten to the age where, I mean, his brain was already shot, so maybe now it's actually.
yeah, maybe. He's
So anybody
being
that's-
taken care of more.
anybody that's not from our hometown, there's a gentleman here that's famous locally, known as Jimi Hendrix.
There's
He
even
loo-
a decent Facebook
he-
page
yeah,
about
he-
it. Jimi
he-
Hendrix is
he
alive
looks-
in Elmira, New York.
He looks similar to Jimi Hendrix, and man, he owned it, walking around telling everybody he's Jimmy. And he definitely owned it. He definitely knows he's not Jimmy. Some people think he really thinks he's Jimmy, but man, he really owned the whole
Wait,
Jimi
it
Hendrix
is
thing.
just a shtick?
I'm 99% sure it's just a shtick.
No.
Yeah.
No. No way, man. He would not. Oh, maybe he would stick with that.
Last time I saw him, he told me, he said, "Oh man, I'm getting ready to go back to England, man. I'm gonna go on
Yeah, he says that
vacation to
every time.
England. Gonna take my wife with me." I was like, "Hell yeah, Jimmy, you go enjoy the hell out of England, man."
Yeah, that's been the same.
And then I
story
gave him
for
a
the last
cigarette.
10 years.
And then I gave him a cigarette because he wanted one. He's always going to England.
What a life, man. What a life.
Legend.
Isn't there always a rumor kind of going around too that like, oh, there's somebody in the psych ward who thinks they're a glass of orange juice. And it's like,
So what I hate about that story is I've heard at least a dozen people that I've met in real life say they know someone that took acid and thought that they were a glass of orange juice, that if they tip over they'll die. And anytime I hear somebody tell me that, I just look at them and say, "No, you don't. No, you don't. That's been a story since the 60s. No, you don't.
They
That's
just
a
want to
rumor.
sound like the cool person who
Yeah.
knows somebody.
That's why I can't wait till I start my my side podcast about psychedelics, because if I ever have a guest on there that starts telling me some crazy shit or something like that, I will call them out right on camera and be like, no, you don't. You don't know anybody that thinks they're a glass of orange juice. That's been a stupid story since the 60s. You don't.
It's been
I
like
mean, I'm sure it's happened, but
maybe.
Maybe.
But it's been like the reefer madness story. It's like it's been going along for so long.
Yeah.
And people just think it's an interesting story, so they take it on as themselves.
And then they repeat it.
And you just feel like, I know a guy that was a glass of orange juice.
Oh, yeah? What's his
cool.
name?
I know a guy that fucked your mom.
That's where you just ask them, oh, yeah, what's his name? Oh,
Bob Smith. Yeah? Where'd you meet Bob Smith?
That's generic. What psych ward is he at?
You mean the psych wards that have been closed since like the 1960s?
I know
One
a
of
guy
those?
that took some acid once and had a realization that all matter was just energy condensed to a slower vibration, and that we're all connected to this one giant consciousness, and maybe we should all show each other a little bit more love and have a little bit more understanding for one another. But you never hear the good acid stories.
Yeah, that's God.
Yeah.
That's an argument for God.
Yeah, I mean,
Did you see,
I've taken acid and seen God in everything, but again, that's a story nobody wants to hear. They only want to hear the bad stories.
Did you see that post I did about the pie being irrational?
Pie being irrational.
PI?
Oh, okay. I was like, wait a minute. How is a cooked pie irrational? I did. You
No,
talking
it's-
about the tracing thing?
Yeah, where
Yeah,
it's the
yeah.
two dots are spinning.
Yeah, I almost shared a picture of, the song where he's like, look at this photograph. So you can take that filter and then take a picture of something, and that picture ends up in that photograph. And I took a picture of my dog, whose name is Pie. And I almost shared that in the comment of that video that you posted, the pie one. And I was going to say, here's
the
another
actual music video where the dude holds.
Yeah,
up
so
the
I was going to say,
photo.
here's another
Yeah.
here's another visual representation of Pie, because my dog's name is Pie. So.
All right. Well, this has been an interesting one for sure. It's been a very weird Monday.
Yeah, I
You
think
know what?
one of
We're
these
gonna have
episodes
to
we
get a
should
hold
just
of Maya Redder and ask her what the position of Saturn.
where's the
and-
stars at, girl?
Yeah,
Tell
because
us.
things are feeling very weird today.
Yeah, maybe
I
I'll
think I
message
just
her.
need to go pick up some ice cream and go lay down.
Yeah, maybe I'll message her sometime and see if she ever wants to come talk about astrology, because she's
She's deep in it.
She's
Yeah.
on it. She's on it. She's got that shit studied like a college major.
I mean, it'd be
On
cool.
it. She knows.
yeah, it's something I know hardly anything about.
It'd be one of those
So let me
interesting
just-
episodes where we can just kind of chill.
Let me just tell you how on point one of her readings was for me. It was in 2021, and I was questioning the job I had at the time, and when she did my full zodiac reading, like my full zodiac chart, everything she said to me was so spot on with what I was going through in life. I'm like, I was thinking to myself, like, you're setting me up right now. How do you know all this? You've been talking to Erica? How do you know this? And it's just from apparently where the placement of the stars are. And like, I don't fully discount astrology. I think, some of it's definitely over exaggerated, but
The Egyptians
Yeah.
carved it into stone for a reason, and so did the Sumerians. So there was some kind of significance. And if the Earth's gravity is pulling us to the center, and invisible radiation from the sun gives us energy, then it's not obscure to think that a gravitational pull from another spherical entity in our solar system could
Saturn.
have some kind of effect of us.
Saturn. And I'll send you the video later when I get home, because I just watched a video on it recently.
Yeah. I mean, just think of the explanation of the moon has effects on our oceans. It creates tides.
Yeah, and if we're 70-something% water, it's got to have effect on
Yeah.
us. It's probably why
And
I didn't sleep for shit last night. I
one
never
of the-
sleep good around the full moon.
One of the
Bullshit.
explanations
Well, it's not
as
70%
to...
liquid water, is it? I think it's
Huh?
like they say our body's 70% water,
But it's not actual water. They're water molecules, but the atoms are broken down to such a degree where you can't just extract the water from our body. Maybe someday some kind of
'cause
science
we have water
like
in
that.
our blood, but I think that's
Yeah. Same thing with iron. We have iron in our blood, but it's not literal metal,
yeah, it is.
you can't put a magnet to somebody's body, a strong enough magnet, and pull all the iron out of their body.
I think you can.
No,
We're gonna have to
because
build
it's not.
that magnet.
It's molecules of iron that are so small. Where yes, it's iron, but it's not like physical iron. They're like individual molecules. It's like an individual
gonna
molecule
try.
inside of a blood cell.
I'm gonna try.
You should. You should
Yeah,
get
let's
one
build
of
a
them.
big ass magnet and see if it can like suck one of us up to the ceiling.
Oh, you know what you do? Here's what you
turned
do.
on.
Just get a bunch of blood and see if you can collect iron from it with a magnet.
Oh yeah, yeah. Where do we get the blood from?
Right here. Cut me, Mick.
Yeah, it'll be like the Saw movie where we cut
But-
our hands in half and just
Now,
collect.
how do
Oh,
we-
hell yeah, that'll,
Yeah,
that'll
yeah, yeah.
be a
How
nice
do we
pool.
know how strong of a magnet we get?
The strongest one there is.
So the strongest ones that I know of are
The
from old
iridium or
iridium,
yeah.
iridium,
Aluminium.
aluminium. No, from disk drives, disk hard drives, like in older computers, how they had the two magnets that would spin the disk. Those magnets are stupid strong. I broke my finger putting my finger in between them before.
All right,
They're-
let's sign
they're
this. Let's sign this off before we have
Oh
a
yeah,
whole nother
We
podcast.
said goodbye already. It's a weird
Yeah.
one, guys.
Yeah, we can just cut the end.
Yeah, everyone go home. Fuck out of here.
Okay, out of here.
Goodbye,
clowns.
goodbye.
Cut the last 5 minutes off.